What's up, everybody? It's Make It Make Sense. Thank you guys for sticking this out. It has been a rough couple days. Now that I'm back at home, I got the transcripts. We need to get started because we got a lot to discuss. Like the video's intro, please. Thank you all for sticking out because I know it's late.
I was listening to Make It Make Sense. Shout out to Make It Make Sense.
It makes sense.
Make it make sense to me intellectually.
It makes sense.
Make it make sense. You know what was up.
I feel like I have a
Big moves.
surfer.
Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dream. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things of your dream. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
You want a rat this size crawling up your ass? Till they orgasm.
Bitch, that's a problem.
So, y'all gotta get naked. You know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta get naked. You got where I'm coming from?
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Okay, guys, so let me give you like a full disclosure. It has been insane since I've been back home. As you know, my sister's ill. A friend of mine, I guess I can tell you because you guys don't actually know him. So last week when I was in court, I got a lot of text messages. One of my oldest friends had blood on the brain, but we now know he had 4 strokes. He had 4 strokes. They had to cut his skull or like remove his skull to get to it. And he's been in a medically induced coma. So that's been rough. I'm back home. I'm trying to work out something to get me back to New York so I can give you guys live coverage of the trial like I've been doing. That's on my mind. And then today, I got into a car accident. Somebody hit me. So it's been a lot going on, but we are here now. I worked out the situation with the transcript. So for the next couple of days, I'll have the transcripts. But no matter what, I'm going to be back in New York. So it doesn't matter if I have to cut the check for a room or Airbnb, but it's happening. So I'm going to finish. I'm going to finish this trial out with you guys in New York. Okay. What's going on with my ring light? It just, it's a no good, very, very bad day. We're just going to have to make this work. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. So yeah, this transcript, we're gonna start at the direct examination of Miss Slavic. Where is the make this bigger so you guys can see it? I did not stand you up. Thank you. It's about what did I tell Candy? I told Candy something. Make sure you don't look like what you've been through, basically. So yeah, Angela, we ain't gonna look like what we've been through. Yeah, sometimes you just have to laugh. But okay, yeah, we're starting. Let me see. The government calls Los Angeles police officer Christopher Ignacio. Direct examination by Ms. Slavic. Good morning. Good morning. Are you employed? Yes. What do you do? I'm a police officer for the Los Angeles Police Department. Is that also known as the LAPD? Yes. How long have you been an LAPD officer? For approximately a little over 6 months. Wait, let me make sure my audio is right. And it's not. Okay. Better audio. How long have you held the title? For approximately 15 years. What was your title before you became a police officer? It's a police officer 1, which is a probationary officer. And how long did you hold that title? About a year. Focusing on your role as a police officer, to what are your responsibilities? My responsibilities are to protect the lives and properties, respond to various radio calls, including non-emergency and emergency calls, make arrests, complete reports, interview witnesses and victims, and gather evidence, book evidence, and also sometimes testify. You mentioned that one of the responsibilities is responding to radio calls. Can you just explain to the jury what a radio call is? So a radio call is when someone calls 911, it goes into dispatch center like communications. The dispatcher takes the information and decides what type of radio call, what type of call it would be, like a robbery, burglary, or traffic collision. In other words, dispatch receives radio calls and then assigns out jobs to police officers who are on duty. Yes, that's correct. Are you currently assigned to a particular division? Yeah, at the moment I'm assigned to officer operations. Focusing on December 2011 time period, did you have a particular assignment at that time? Yes, I was working Hollywood Division Patrol. And can you explain to the jury what the Hollywood Division is? Hollywood Division is just a geographical area in the city of Los Angeles. I don't know exactly how many square miles it is. It's from Western Avenue all the way to West Hollywood to Mulholland Drive down to Santa Monica. Let's get to the good stuff. We don't need to know. I mean, you guys can put in the chat. I don't really want to know this. Like, if I was in court right now, I would not write any of this down. So I think I'm going to do it like as if I'm in court, and we're going to get to the good stuff. Or if you guys want me to read the entire transcript, let me know. Oh, I'm seeing all the chat now. Thank you. I appreciate the prayers. Prayers for my sister. My friend's name is Brian. Prayers for Brian. Y'all don't need to pray for my car, but I think. Okay, so y'all are saying no, I don't have to. I can skip to the good stuff. Got it. Y'all are my people. Y'all are my tribe. I want to focus your attention to December 22nd, 2011. Were you working that day? Yes, I was. What was your shift that day? It was a day watch, which is hours of 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Were you working with a partner that day? Yes, I was. Were you uniformed? Yes. And were you patrolling in a vehicle or on foot? In a marked police vehicle. I received a call at approximately 8:20 in the morning. Is that right? That's correct. What, if any, details were provided by dispatch when you received the call? At the time, what I remember is it just came out as possible suspect is there now. What was the location of the scene? 8925 Hollywood Hills Road. Did you respond to this call? Yes, I did. It was assigned to us and it was a private. By us, you mean your partner. Is that right? Yes. We recommended code 3, which is immediate with lights and sirens. Where did you go with the lights and sirens? To 8925 Hollywood Hills Road. Is that the address or residential? It's residential. Miss Slavic, Miss Foster, could you please pull up? Excuse me. Miss Foster, could you pull up for the witness and the parties what's been marked for identification as government exhibit 8C101? It's the front gate and wall of the residence. So they're just pulling the exhibit. Okay. Can you explain to the jury what they're looking at? So this is the front wall to 8925 Hollywood Hills Road, the residence. So it's the front wall and gate, and behind it's a courtyard, and there's a house. Blah, 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 blah. Officer Ignazio, what, if anything, did you notice as you arrived to the residence? As we were driving to the residence, I did notice a dark black Cadillac Escalade. Now, y'all, I'm not even going front. I have been following. We're going to get to some testimony here that Kid Cudi did not even put out. Kid Cudi mentioned nothing of this. So I'm sure you guys remember last week when he said that he never actually saw Diddy until he saw him at the Soho house. Well, they're saying that there was an Escalade around. It was directly in front of the house and it drove northwest into the hills. As you approach the residence, that's correct. Did you observe any passengers in the black Escalade? No, I did not, but I observed a license plate. What prevented you from observing passengers in the black Escalade? It was heavily tinted, like limo tinted. The windows, yes. And And where were you when you were observed the black Escalade? I was in our police vehicle. And this was a marked police vehicle? That's correct. What did you do after you noticed this black Escalade? I memorized the plate. Why did you memorize the plate? Just in case it may be involved in a crime. What made you think it could have been involved in a crime? It was parked directly in front of the residence, and as soon as we arrived, it took off the hill. Did you pull the black Escalade over? No, I did not. Why not? We didn't have a crime at the time. Do you remember the license plate that you noted in your mind? Yes, I do. Can you tell the jury what the license plate was? It's 6LK N013. And that was a California plate? That's correct. After you noticed the black Escalade and took the note of the plate, what did you do next? We went to the front gate and my partner jumped over the fence and let me in. At this point, was anyone else at the residence with you? Just my partner and I. What did you do next after you got into the courtyard? We went to the front door and knocked on the door, and that's when we noticed the door was unlocked. How did you discover that the door was unlocked? We checked the door handle. What did you do next? So we went inside and searched the residence for any suspects or any victims. Did you find any individuals? Any people in the residence at the time? No, I did not. What, if anything, did you remember seeing inside the residence? I remember seeing on a table like high-end, high-value watches and purses. Were these items wrapped? Some of them were and some of them were not. Did anything look disturbed from your observations? No. Was the owner of the property present? No. Did any other law enforcement officers arrive at the residence? Yes. 2 detectives units showed up. 2 detectives, you said. Yes. What did you do when those detectives arrived? We searched the property again to make sure nothing was taken. And what happened when you went through the residence again with the detectives? We just searched the area and just to make sure there was nobody inside and then make sure nothing was disturbed. What happened next? We exited the residence. And what, if anything, did you see when you exited the residence? I saw the same black Escalade coming down the hill. Now, y'all, you see the police. You know that they're there for you. You drive off. And then you come back around. Tell me that's not coke. You can't tell me that that's not coke rage to make you come back when you already see the police are there. How quickly was the Escalade driving as it came down the hill? Down the hill, I can't be sure, maybe 10, 15 miles. Per hour, sorry. How does that compare to when you started driving the opposite direction when you first arrived? It probably is about the same time, but it took off immediately. As you arrived at the residence, that's correct. Now, you said that was the same black Escalade that you saw when you arrived at the residence. Yes. How do you know? I looked at the rear plate. It was the same license plate. Approximately how much time passed between the first time you saw the black Escalade and the second time? I would say about 15 to 20 minutes. Did you observe passengers in the black Escalade? I tried to, but it was heavily tinted and I wasn't able to see anybody inside of it. Did you pull the black Escalade over the second time you saw it? No, I did not. Why not? We didn't have a crime at the time. Did anyone else arrive at the residence? Yes, the tenant. And how did Mr. Muschetti arrive at the residence? He arrived in a black Porsche. A black Porsche, you said? Yes. Did you speak with him? I did. Did you go through the residence with him? I did. What, if anything, did you conclude with respect to a burglary taking place? Objection. Hold on. That's sustained. Officer Ignacio, what, if any, reports did you complete with respect to the incident that you responded to? We completed a trespass report. What is a trespass report? It's basically someone entering someone's land or property without the owner's consent. And you took that report immediately after the incident? That's correct. I want to turn back to the black Escalade. You testified that you saw this Escalade pass the residence twice. Is that right? That's correct. What, if anything, did you do after the second time you saw the black Escalade? As soon as it passed, I went into our police vehicle and entered the license plate into our mobile digital computer. What information did the computer provide? It provided the registered owner. Your Honor, at this time, the government moves to admit exhibit. No objection. Ms. Foster, could you please publish it? Blah, blah, blah. Officer Ignacio, can you read the title of this document? DMV vehicle register information. Can you zoom in to the line that says LIC? There's the license plate number. Officer Ignacio, do you have an understanding as to what RO means? It means registered owner. And can you read the name of the registered owner? Bad Boy Productions Incorporation. No. I actually talked to a chemist. It can't absorb into the body. So the GHB in the baby oil was not true. All of those lawsuits containing that information were false. They threw baby oil on you, and then all of a sudden you couldn't stand up. Not true. Can you read the address? 9374 Beverly Crest Drive in Beverly Hills. Let's see where Diddy used to live. Let's be nosy real quick. Wow. That's a really nice house. That's actually like beautiful. Now, yeah, he did have drugs in the eye drops. That's true. Nothing further, Your Honor. So we're to the cross-examine. Good morning. Good morning. This is 13 and a half years ago, approximately. Is that fair to say? Yes. Oh, they got Brian Steele doing the cross. And in order to come to the great city of New York, you prepared yourself for this testimony. Is that true? Yes. And the way you prepared yourself was you needed memory refresh. Is that fair to say? Yes. And the reason why is because you've been a police officer now for a decade and a half or more. Correct. And you have done a lot of cases trying to help people. Right. And some cases stick in your mind for whatever reason. Some cases don't stick in your mind for whatever reason. Is that true? Yes. And this case had no particular value to you until, of course, you were notified you're having to appear in court. Is that fair to say? Yes. And in fact, in this particular case, the way you worked with a teammate or co-officer that morning. Yes. And that morning, that officer is Officer Snyder. Do you remember him? I do. And Officer Snyder, just like you're taught, he's taught, actually wrote a report about this incident. Is that true? That's correct. And you use that report too. My word would be refresh your memory. But whatever. Just to kind of bring this up, whether you remembered it or not, you rely on that report. Is that true? That's correct. And that report is something that not only you do regularly in your course of business, or in this case, Officer Snyder, but you go to training for that report. Yes. And you have to put in that report everything that is to your knowledge at the time important in the case. Yes. Y'all, he's not asking this line of questioning for his health. When Brian Steele starts asking you about your memory, you then probably messed up somewhere. And you try to make it clear, true. And you try to make it understandable. Yes. And police reports are an important part of what you do. I know you listed a lot of things you do to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, but the police report is something also important. Yes, it is. And people rely on it, even when you're not there. Yes. Like defense lawyers, judges, prosecutors, citizens. Yes. All right. Now you respond and it's right before Christmas. It's December 22nd, 2011. Is that fair to say? Yes. And you arrive at an address which you announced 3 times for the jury, but it's 8925 Hollywood Hills Road. True? That's correct. And that was your area where you would travel and report to and assist in that time. Is that true? Yes. And how long did you patrol? Is my word that area? For approximately 12 years. So I'm assuming that you're pretty familiar. Yes, I am. And are you familiar with the roads that lead to and from 8925? Yes. If I showed you, Your Honor, I believe this is already an evidence, a defendant exhibit. Could you look at it? I believe it's an evidence, Your Honor. It could be shown to everybody. If you could look at this and try to tell me and the ladies and gentlemen of the jury whether this accurately depicts the roadway around you see 8925. Yes. Just take a minute to orient yourself and tell me whether you feel comfortable. Yes, it does. All right. Can you explain to the jury? They have it on their screens if you don't see where they sit, so they can see what is marked and admitted as 957. It is fair to say from that house, the 8925 Hollywood Hills house, a lot or all the roads to the bottom or to the south of that area, they are dead ends. Is that true? Your Honor, I would just ask Mr. Steele to refrain from the compound questions. Is that an objection? Yes, Your Honor. All right, Mr. Steele, could you rephrase? Sure. Using Exhibit 957, is it fair to say that from 8925 Hollywood Hills Road, the home, if you go south or downward on the exhibit, you hit to the left. You hit dead ends. Is that your memory? According to the photo, it does look like some of them are dead ends. Let's talk about you, because you've driven this area or parts of the area for 12 years. Correct. And it's a true statement. It's a beautiful neighborhood. Yes, it is. You see how he throws shit in there like that? He's clearly trying to say that the man's memory is not good, but he's throwing in niceties. It's a beautiful neighborhood. That is what Brian Steele does. He gets you off your game. No, I didn't because first off, these transcripts are expensive. Secondly, when I got the transcript super early in the morning, it had not been released to me yet. It was on a Google Drive that wasn't open to me yet. So I have it. Maybe we'll read it this weekend. I don't know. It's a lot going on, but I know I'll be back in that courtroom Monday. As soon as I get off, I'm going to go ahead and buy my plane tickets. Yes, it is. A lot of cul-de-sacs. Dead ends, true. Yes. Now I want to go back and just talk about it. You can take that down if you don't mind when you get a chance. I want to go back, sir. Did you need to see that longer? No. If you do, tell us. Thank you. No problem. It's 8:20 in the morning. You get a call for a potential person in someone's house. That's what you told the jury. Fair to say? Yes. And that's true, right? Yes. It's recorded in your report. That's correct. So you really don't know, God forbid, what you're coming into. Yes. It could have been a home he said innovation, but I guess they meant home invasion. Yes. It could have been a simple trespass. Yes. It could have been nothing. It could be a report that's just vindictive, but just wrong, right? Yes. So you and your partner are on the alert. Hold on. Oh, so this is new. Sorry, breaking news. Breaking Diddy news. Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers are asking judge to allow Combs to meet with his attorneys in a secure facility in the courthouse after trial until 10 p.m. on each day in which court is in session, with no barriers between them. The court has the authority to enter the requested order pursuant. Not motion denied. Oh, not motion denied. Oh, that's funny. I'm gonna leave that up. Blah blah blah. So you and your partner are on alert to report, and you put on. I'm not saying you or your partner put on what I would call blue lights. Yes, and the sirens. That's correct. And even though it's 8:20 in the morning, it doesn't matter because this could be a dangerous situation. Yes. You also want to get there as fast as possible. Yes. And you're in a black and white patrol vehicle. Yes. And when you arrive, you actually see the government, or excuse me, if we could put up into evidence, Exhibit 8C. Now, this is the same exact photograph, but just from a different angle. This appears to be. I'll just use both. But if you're focused on one, just announce it. When you arrive with your partner, Officer Snyder, there's actually a large car there, right? A black Cadillac. Yes. And you're observant, and that's what you are trained to do. Yes. And you didn't remember the license plate for 13 and a half years, but you refreshed your memory and you were able to tell it off the top of your head today. Yes. That's a tricky mofo. And when you arrive, you know what you're going to be. You know that you're going to be possible crime at the home, and the car was there. So you're observant and you focus in and get the license plate. Yes. But you don't follow the car as it pulls off because you really get a call from a house and there's only one of you and Officer Snyder. Yes. But you record that license plate that the jurors but you just heard, right? Yes. And the car pulls off. If it doesn't peel wheels off or anything, it just drives away as you're pulling up. True. It drives up the hill. Yes. Okay. Now I want you to tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury at the time that you're observant, you're following all this, you're focused. Did you see a black Porsche next to or around that black Escalade? I don't remember. Now let's go here really, really quickly. It is a little strange that you see a car driving off from a potential scene of a crime. You run the license plate, but it's not like he's calling for backup to say we might have rolled in on the intruder, because you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. They said the intruder could be in the house. So you see a car leaving the house. I would think that you would maybe not follow it, but at least call for some more backup and say we might have just seen the car. Y'all can put in the chat if y'all think that's weird or not. It may not be weird. It might just be me. Well, you would have to put it in the report, possibly. Okay, and I mean, if you saw the black Cadillac and the Porsche interacting in any way, you would have included both vehicles, yes. And you didn't see a car chase at all, did you? No, because a car chase would have been important to you as well, yes. If two cars are driving side by side or one car in front of the other or fast, there's something the law enforcement officers like you, an observant gentleman, would have noted. Yes, that didn't happen here. No. When you get the call to respond to the scene, it's important that you have all the information that you have. Yes, you had no information that there was a gun involved. Am I correct? I don't believe so. You would have put the report. You would have put that in the report, right? It would have been on the radio, right? Yes, because you have to know whether you are going into a potential anything could be dangerous. I'm not belittling that. You have to know as much information so you can properly have your mindset on how you're going to respond. Yes. And a firearm is always serious. Yes. Okay, and that's not in your report. No. In fact, no one, to your knowledge, told you, Officer Snyder, anything about a firearm. True. Okay, and you also spoke with, as well as the detectives, and Officer Snyder spoke with the tenant of the home, the tenant or the homeowner. Is that true? Yes. And the homeowner never mentioned anything about a gun. I don't remember. Well, is it in your report? How about that? It's not. Okay, and that's something that is important that you would have put in the report. Possibly. Well, why possibly? Well, if he would have told us, we probably most likely would have put it in the report. Of course, I mean, it's a perpetrator in someone's home with a firearm. You're writing it down in the report, right? Yes. Now, did you hear anything about kidnapping? No. Because kidnapping is something violent as well. Yes. You know the definition of kidnapping. Objection. That's sustained. You didn't hear anything about kidnapping in this matter, did you? No. Because that would have been important to put in the report, right? Yes. Okay, and I want to ask you, if you don't mind, whether you were ever told that the homeowner was in the house shortly before you and your partner got there. Objection. It's overruled. Can you repeat the question? Of course. Did you have any information from the homeowner? You spoke with the homeowner eventually, right? Yes. And let's just put it in sequence. You and your partner get there. The black Escalade drives off. Yes. You're observant. You see the black Escalade's license plate. You already told that, right? That's correct. You don't see anything else about a Porsche? No. You don't see anything about any other car? No. And am I right? Yes. And you don't see a car chase at all? No. Even when the black Cadillac later, 10, 15 minutes later, drives by, you don't see a car chase or another car? Yes. Am I correct? Yes. Now, you and your partner get to the house. Your blue lights are on, your siren is on, and you need to enter the home to clear it. True. Yes. And by clearing it, that means you just have to see not only you, but the partner and the other officers who arrive. You have to make sure that it's safe. Yes. Okay. And at that point in time, you don't see anybody leaving the house. No. And your partner actually climbs over what we have on the court screen. It's either HC or as in Colette. Your partner climbs that small wall, or it may not even be that small, but the wall. Yes. And your partner goes around that gate that's in there and the jurors can see on the screen, opens the gate so other officers, including yourself, can enter. Yes. And do you remember the courtyard? Yeah, it was a short courtyard. It had trees, fair to say? Yes. And it was nicely manicured, if you remember? Yes. And it's something where it blocks the house. The trees block the house. I mean, from the yard. I mean, from the street. Sorry. I believe so, yes. And this way, if you're sitting at the gate that your partner, Officer Snyder, opened up and you can't see the house, but you can see into the courtyard. Yes. And behind the courtyard, though, is the house, right? Yes. These questions. And eventually make your way, but you're searching the grounds. That's how you remember the courtyard. You're making sure nobody in the courtyard because people can hide behind trees and bushes and things like that. Yes. And you're clearing that. Clearing that means you're making it safe. Yes. And you and your partner have guns. I'm not saying you're pointing at anybody, but you're ready for anything. Yes. You're again observing. Yes. After you clear the courtyard and finally see the house, then you make entry to the home. Yes. Now, the home door is actually not ajar. I'm not saying it's like, a cat could run in it, but it's you don't need a key. You can just turn the knob. Yes. When I say turn the knob, I shouldn't have said that. You actually push down on the door. Yes. And then the door and then the interior of the house, right? That's correct. And at that point, again, you and your partner have to go together. You have to be aware. You have to be clear of the different areas, including cabinets, etc. Some cabinets. I mean, cabinets large enough to fit a human. Yes. And you do that for the entirety of the house. Yes. You do that for the backyard. I believe yes. And you made sure, based on your best senses, as well as relying on your partner and other officers, there was no danger. Yes. Am I correct? Yes. Okay. Now, officer, there was a property disturbed in the house from what you could tell. From what it seemed like, yes. And there was no furniture upended. No. No clothes thrown. No. It looked organized. Yes. And you didn't see any bullet holes in the wall or notes of threats or anything like that. No. Because you would have made a note of that. Yes. Now you called it, I believe, not a burglary, but a trespass. Yes. And that's because if a person is in another person's property or residence, objection, I think sustained, but I didn't hear the rest of the question. So maybe try to rephrase it. If the court says you think sustained, I will rephrase it. You didn't see evidence of anything stolen. No. And the homeowner didn't report anything stolen. He did not. Now, with regards to the Escalade, if you had any evidence that Escalade was carrying somebody with the gun, you could have put out what's called a bolo. Do you know what I mean by bolo? Objection. That's overruled. We could have, yes. Can you tell the people? Some people may not know what the acronym means. Can you just explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what a bolo is? I believe it means to be on the lookout. And that's where you can use your radio on your shoulder, right? Yes. And you can say, hey, just saw this Escalade, been told that someone is involved in major crime, right? Yes. You did not do that. We did not. Okay, so that's what I was talking about, y'all. It's kind of weird you make a note that you see an Escalade drive from a potential scene of the crime, but you never call to say, hey, somebody might need to check these people out, see if there's something suspicious going on. Yeah, I don't know. That is a little strange to me. But maybe because he saw a bad boy and he didn't think Diddy was a bad boy. I mean, maybe he didn't think that Diddy was a problem. It was registered to Diddy. Let me see. You did not do that. We did not. There's no mention of any threat to kill because you would have thought that was important. Yes. So was there any mention that there was the security cameras? You remember that? No mention. But I did see some cameras on the exterior of the residence. And the homeowner attendant was charged, if you know, with getting those images if they exist, if they were working, to law enforcement. Is that true? Yes. We asked Mr. Muschietti if he can provide us with. And he was, sorry, go ahead, surveillance footage. And he was cooperative with law enforcement. Yes. And he wasn't hyperventilating or saying, oh my God, this is a threat to me, right? He was professional. Came off, I guess, kind of like I would say, how can I explain it? Like he was flustered, a little flustered. Okay, and did you ever search his Porsche? I did not. Was he driving a Porsche? Yes. Do you remember what color? I believe it was black. Your Honor, may I just have a minute? If you don't mind, you may. Thank you, sir. I'll be right back. Just give me a second, okay? Yes. Can I just ask you one other question, sir? Yes. Mr. Steele, Your Honor, is that okay? It's okay. You see how he does this shit? Do you see how he does this shit? He literally, you just asked for a minute, which meant that once you got that minute, you can come back and continue asking questions. There's no reason for you to ask the judge, is it okay to ask him a question? So you arrive, I believe you told the jury approximately, or you just got the call to arrive approximately 8:20 that morning. True. Yes. If it wasn't 6:30 in the morning, the first call was 8:20. True. Approximately 8:20. Yes. Approximately. Okay. All right. And obviously I believe it's daylight. True. Is it? Yes, it is. Thank you, sir. All right. Any further examination? No redirect, Your Honor. All right. Thank you very much, officer. So to me, to be honest with you, a lot of the prosecution's questions don't really have to be pointed because Diddy has done like some horrible shit. Like Diddy has done the worst shit. So the defense has two options. They can either really try to go at the witness like they did Dawn, or they can simply try to make you feel like the witness isn't fully capable of remembering. And that's what they did here. It was a lot of bullshit questions, a lot of fluff. But who we are about to get is another Cassie, because this dude I heard was giving it the entire time to the defense. And I heard he wasn't that great with the prosecution either. So expect a little.
I'm being real with you because I heard about you. I was waiting on you at the door.
And a little.
Do you want to do this?
Do you?
So yeah. Really, really quick before we get into Deonte. Thank you for the super sticker. Deborah, thank you for the super sticker. Marlucia, thank you for the super sticker. Chemistry, I like your name. Sending you and your loved ones healing energy. Thank you so much. Miriam, hit the like button. Girlies, gays, they, them, men. Thank you. That's funny. Girlies, gays, they, them, and men. Lambre, thank you so much. Gina, thank you for becoming a member. Guys, I think what we're gonna do is I will have the members only live on the weekend, and it'll be like an hour, and you'll like one person will be able to come up and ask a question. So it'll be kind of like the group thing that we did, but not so much. Thank you so much, Murad, for the super sticker. Murad is also covering this. I was in his chat today. He's doing the full play-by-play. Lily Tiller, hey, hit me up and I can add you to my Hilton and Marriott discounts for rooms while you're in my seat. So I do have a friends and family for Marriott, and they were still for 30 days. Like the cheapest was like 7,000, something like that. But I think what I'm going to do is go with Airbnb. But no matter what, I'm definitely going to be there. But thank you. I appreciate that. And you can be my Hilton cousin. You can hit me up on Instagram. Make it make sense now. I'm definitely not calling Bravo Andy for nothing. No, thank you. Let me see. Is it Deonte coming up? Oh no, it's the other investigator. Let's look through this real quick because we might just jump to Deonte. So it's the fire department. Let's see. He was a reserve officer. Yeah, we're gonna skip to his good stuff. Okay, you usually work in pairs. So this is the arson investigator. So we don't need him to explain. We just need to get to what he saw with Kid Cudi's car. We don't need his certifications. I mean, y'all can put in the chat. I trust his certifications. Okay, here we go. Before we move on, investigator, I just want to make sure that we understand the limits of your expertise. As part of your duties as an arson investigator, do you perform DNA testing? No. Have you ever had any training with respect to DNA analysis? Not in testing or analysis. Do you have any expertise related to DNA testing and analysis? No. Same question regarding fingerprint analysis. As part of your duties as an arson investigator, do you collect fingerprints? I've been trained on latent prints, but I don't personally do that. No. Do you perform fingerprint analysis? No. And do you have any expertise with respect to fingerprint analysis? No. I want to know your focus or attention on January 9th, 2012. Were you working that day? Yes. What was your shift? I was on a 24-hour platoon shift with another partner working a 24-hour car. What is a 24-hour platoon shift? We're just working a 24-hour shift available for the whole city to be dispatched throughout the city of Los Angeles. Were you working with a partner? Yes, Mike. Camilo. Did you respond to an auto fire in Hollywood Hills? Yes. I want to direct your attention to an auto fire at 8925 Hollywood Hills Road. Do you remember responding? Yes. How were you alerted? I believe that it was through a dispatch, if I'm not mistaken. Can you just explain what dispatch is? Like I said before, our Metro Communications will let us know that we've been requested at a fire scene. Approximately what time of day were you alerted? I want to say around 11. We were located at our station. Excuse me, it wasn't too far away, so we probably were there in 30 minutes. Damn, 30 minutes to respond to a fire? What information were you provided by dispatch? The auto fire in a parked car in a driveway. I want to walk through step by step, but first, can you describe the residence? Hollywood Hills is a very affluent area in Los Angeles, kind of up in the hills by Mulholland. It's nicer homes up there on the hillside, more up and away from the city. What about the home itself? We don't need that. Now, you started to get into this, but who was on the scene when you and your partner arrived? There was a fire company. What was the first thing you did when you arrived at the scene? We catch up with the captain to find out what they saw, what they did, and why they called us out. What did you do next? We were identified there that there was a witness there, so we made sure that person stayed. We were told that the victim was there, so asked that person stand by. And then we were shown the vehicle that had the fire involved, and then we started our investigation. And just generally speaking, what did you observe with respect to the scene? So far, this vehicle was parked fairly close to the garage. It was a long driveway. There were two other cars parked behind it going out to the street. The street was kind of offset, so it's hard to see the driveway and where the car was a little offset from the street, hard to see. So when you walk into the driveway, it's more visible. I observed a black Porsche that had a fire. It was involved in a fire. Did you inspect the Porsche? I did. What was the condition of it? Well, at first I inspected the surrounding area if I could backtrack. There was a lot of vegetation and foliage around the vehicle, kind of blocking the view. We're not doing this. Looking for things to get a... I observed it was a black 911 with a canvas top. There was a cut on the top of the vehicle or the top of the roof about a foot long. And inside, I observed that a fire occurred inside the passenger space compartment. What, if anything, did you observe inside the Porsche? Inside the Porsche, when we opened it up, there was burn patterns throughout the seats, the center console, little bit of carpet, some burn patterns on the interior roofing. Did you observe any items within the Porsche? Yes, there was a bottle on the front seat, and there was a cloth handkerchief on the center console that was burned. What, if anything, did you observe around the Porsche outside of it? Outside the Porsche, there was a couple of extinguishers that the fire company brought up. There was also a disposable lighter within the close proximity. A couple of feet from the Porsche on the ground by the driver's side. Who leaves the lighter? If you're throwing a Molotov cocktail, who leaves the lighter? Caramel. You kind of look like Derek Jeter, fully black. I've never heard that before. I've never heard that. Sarah the Singer, thanks for the junior super chat. A little something for your New York fund. Come on, y'all, pitch in. Every bit helps. Prayers for Reddit, Brian, and safe travels, Mims. Thank you. You know, literally the day I was kind of like, you never want to say what next, but that's literally what I'm just like, you know, I'm a glass half full kind of person. Like I don't want to know what's happened next other than something positive. But thank you so much, Sarah. Yeah, it is a little cokish. Or maybe you just don't care. If he made her light it and her put it in there, he might have wanted her to leave it so she would get caught. Did he, even though he's a coke whore, he's allegedly. Well, I mean, do I have to say allegedly to that? I'll just say Diddy's a coke whore. Let me put my banner up. So there we go. We're gonna leave it like that. The coke whore. That's so stupid. There was a disposable lighter within close proximity, a couple feet from the Porsche on the ground by the driver's side. And what if any initial hypotheses did you draw after making these observations? Well, I look at it. I look at different things that may potentially cause the fire. We always look at the engine to see if there was an electrical issue. The engine in the back of the Porsche was not damaged. The back seats weren't damaged. Really nothing burnt through the rear. You look at the battery. So I try to rule out any kind of accident type of thing, nothing natural. Weather's good. Inside, I observed the bottle. I smelled what I know to be gasoline inside the vehicle when we opened it up. And the inside of the bottle, we observed a liquid. That odor gave me what I knew to be gasoline and the handkerchief there. So I made a general observation. This may have been a Molotov cocktail. Can you explain to the jury that what a Molotov cocktail is? A Molotov cocktail is a makeshift firebomb. The idea is a breakable container with an ignitable liquid poured inside, some kind of a cloth wick or something stuck inside the nozzle of the bottle. They light that on fire. The object is it breaks open. The glass and the vapors disperse with the flames, and it creates a firebomb and a very cause of a lot of damage of a fire. Really quick, guys. You guys, oh, maybe you don't know. I don't know how many of you guys saw what went on with Capricorn, but Capricorn said maybe he should cut Cassie's face. One thing that Diddy has an obsession with is the Joker. The Joker is also known to use Molotov cocktails, but let me show you guys. I'm sure you've seen this before. He went as the Joker.
What's going on? It's Insta hands with buzz and
You're a clown! What's up, man? Get to it, nigga. Halloween, I'm out here with love, nigga.
So Diddy was clearly high. He was as the Joker. He does these things. So I'm not surprised he would use a Molotov cocktail. I'm not surprised that he acts out scenes from the Joker. He's saying he wants to cut Cassie's face. What is it? It's called a glass gall smile or something like that. Not Cocora's proclivities. A Cocora proclivity, and that wholeness cannot be deleted. They light that on fire. The object is it breaks open, the glass and the vapors disperse within the flames, and it creates a firebomb. And they cause a lot of damage for a fire. Now, focusing on the damage to the Porsche, you said that you saw smoke and the fire damage to the Porsche. Is that right? There was a lot of heat damage to the center console, the door, and the windows. I didn't observe any broken windows. So the windows were still intact, and there was a lot of burn patterns on the seat and the floor and the carpeting. And what in your view caused this damage? The bottle itself. If I formed the opinion that it was a Molotov and that the handkerchief had burnt but fell out of the bottle. The bottle had dropped in my opinion and it didn't break. So the gas kind of splashed around, causing the burn patterns I observed. Have you seen other auto fires caused by Molotov cocktails? Yes. And how did the damage to the Porsche in this case compare? Although there was fire damage to the vehicle, it wasn't as extensive as what I usually see when the Molotovs do break and extensive fire damage. I've seen cars burn all the way down to the frame from these types of fire bombs. And why was the damage to the Porsche in this case less significant? I formed the opinion that the cloth was more of a silky type material. I think it just fell out of the bottle. The bottle didn't break, so the liquid wasn't able to disperse with what I think the object of the tent was. So you used a silk scarf. You didn't just rip up a cotton t-shirt. You used a silk scarf in a Molotov cocktail. Who does that? Who does that? Like, I don't know. Somebody says no reporting for Abercrombie and Fitch. No media, no reporting. So I've heard this a lot, Keisha, and I don't mind talking about it. The Abercrombie and Fitch owner's CEO, although he did horrible things, he was not as much in the public eye as Diddy is and has always wanted to be. Diddy has always wanted to be at the forefront. He wasn't necessarily talented. Most people would say he's not necessarily attractive. We just found out he had a cock eye. He wasn't necessarily nice to be around, but he had a vision and he gangstered his way through life and was able, and people said that he was charismatic and stuff like that. And he always threw parties. Think like the Great Gatsby, somebody who didn't necessarily belong amongst the smart people or amongst those who are get things done the legal way. But you got the drugs, you got the liquor, you got the money to throw these parties. You become everybody's best friend. We already know, like I said, and I will continue to say, he was marginally talented at best. But every single song had a feature on it of a top artist, which put him as a top artist because all of his singles and mostly every song on every album had features on it. So he did not belong, but he was larger than life personality. Now we know he was giving drugs to everybody. We know that he was, letting people allegedly have sex in his house and recording them and making sure that they knew that if they got out of line, those recordings would get out. He wanted to be the center of attention. The Abercrombie and Fitch man was doing horrible things, mostly behind the scenes. So yes, Diddy's going to have a lot more media attention because Diddy as a person, as a whole, had a lot more media attention. But let's see. A silk scarf. What an idiot. It stayed small and relatively didn't have enough oxygen to cause the damage I think it was intended for. How close to the residence was the Porsche? A few feet away, maybe 10. I will be approximating. If the Molotov cocktail had broken, if the glass bottle had broken, what if damage could have been caused to the residence? In that particular incident, I think the foliage around directly would have been more exposed by the heat, and that would have definitely caught fire, spreading through the vegetation. And then if the radiant heat gets big enough and the fire gets big enough, it definitely would have affected the home and the roofing material on the garage, causing the home to burn and the vehicle behind it as well. Now, you have said you observed the Porsche. Is that right? Yes. Did you form an opinion on how the Molotov cocktail got into the interior car? Yeah. At the end of my investigation, I formed the opinion that somebody had lit it and dropped it in. Cut the roof and dropped it inside the front door. After making these observations as to the scene, what did you do next? We proceeded to look for any surveillance cameras. There were cameras there. I was informed that they weren't recording. We also looked for witnesses, canvassed the area. Now, this is kind of dumb on Cuddy's part. Diddy has threatened you to the point where you felt like he was in your house and rummaging through, and you were, smart enough not to go and find him in D-Rock. But at the same time, the cameras weren't really working for Diddy when they broke in, and they weren't really working when your car was burnt up. And they said that there was no forced entry. So you leave your door unlocked. Hopefully he's smarter now. You're not locking your door. You live in a very nice neighborhood. Your cameras aren't working. You're leaving Chanel, I think he said Chanel purses for his family, and the police said even expensive jewelry was all there. It was Christmas time. You were literally just asking for anybody to walk into your house. That's not just I do know, if you have a larger house, maybe you might have a door unlocked that you didn't mean to lock, but you know that Diddy's after you. And you're leaving out of town to go spend it with Cassie for Christmas. I don't know. This is just kind of dumb. So they didn't see the actual fire occur. And then I was able to speak with the victim of the Porsche in the home. What did your partner do? He took photos and proceeded to collect the evidence. Did you look at the photos that your partner took at or around the time they were taken? Yes. Have you looked at them since? Yes. When? As recently as yesterday, I believe. Investigator Jimenez, you should have a binder next to you. We're not going to go through that. We're not going to talk about the binder. Do these photos fairly and accurately depict what you observed on January 9th? Yes. Oh, they're putting the pictures into evidence. I want to walk through some of these photos with you. Can you please publish? The photo is 101 of the front of the residence, the fence I had spoken about with the vegetation. We're not going to talk about the driveway. Canvas of the roof. Let's see, because I might be able to pull these up. I might be able to pull them up from Pacer if they have already added them to Diddy's indictment stuff. Let's see. Okay, so there's some stuff from 528. Oh, they did a lot of letters to him. Let's see if there's any exhibits that I can see. So I could show you guys the car and the bottle. Oh, these damn exhibits are filed under seal. Sorry, y'all. I thought maybe I'd be able just to pull them up. What's the seal now at this point? Shit. What's the point of sealing them now? That's okay. We'll just get back to the reading. I mean, I guess I could show you how much shit that they filed. That could be interesting. This is all within the last couple days. Okay, exhibit. Oh, maybe they might have them. Let me see. Kid Cudi's car. I don't see the bottle though. Yeah, no, I didn't see the bottle, but there's the car. You'd be surprised. There are a lot of like mansions and McMansions all up and through LA that are not in gated communities. So you can literally just drive up the hill and get to them. Some of them you can't really tell how big they are because they'll have like a gate and there'll be like a lot of foliage and trees and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of these people's houses you could just walk up to. You would never know it's like the Garden of Eden and stuff behind the gate. Not Cassie blew the car up. What's up, Shrinkage Sharon? So you see the driver's door, which shows the kind of smoke and soot damage to the window that I referred to earlier. You'll see more of the burn pattern. We got it. There's severe damage, but not nearly what I normally see with the Molotov, where the distribution of gasoline would have been more effective and causing more of a catastrophic damage to the vehicle. I've seen some vehicles that really just burned as if you wouldn't even recognize the vehicle. The roof, the fire burn. More burn patterns. The splash pattern. We just looked at all that. Okay, so the bottle that we collected. And what kind of bottle was it? I believe we have a better photo if you want a close up. It was a 40. Be honest. How many of y'all have ever drank a 40? I have never drunk a 40, but I can tell you I used to like tear Four Locos up. Before they changed the formula. I used to tear Four Locos up. Never, never, never. Nope. OE 800. See, y'all can be truthful here. If you had a 40, you had a 40. So, Princess, I'm going to guess that you did. Private stock. I mean, you know, I used to drink, what was that? I used to drink when I was in college. I used to drink E&J brandy. And then I thought I was really doing something when I could afford E&J VSOP for $3 more. It is what it is. You do what you got to do. Oh, okay. So y'all are my people. Not a time was had. Okay. We gotta get. But it was a 40-ounce malt liquor. Old English, it looks like. Made of glass. It's a glass bottle, yes. What if anything else was contained? Gasoline. We do a close-up and we collect what brand of malt liquor? Old English 800. Did you smell the liquid? Yes. What did it smell like? Gasoline. And what conclusion did you reach? That it was a Molotov cocktail. That's where we take some of the fluid out of the bottle and we have it tested for analysis and evidence. Was this particular container recovered at the scene? We provide that container, but we put the fluid inside it, and that's the purpose of that. You'll see fire extinguishers. Okay, here we go. What is this photo? That's the cloth material that I believe was attempted to be stuffed inside the bottle. Can you describe the cloth material for the jury? Yes, it's what appeared to be some kind of designer type handkerchief. Now, wouldn't it have been perfect if it was a Sean John handkerchief? It's a designer type handkerchief. So you, it might as well have been a bottle of Ciroc, a 40 and a Gucci handkerchief. What led you to believe it was designer? If you'll see in the corner of the material that it didn't burn, it was some kind of like fancy lines, like and it just had a silky type material to it. You can take this down. Investigator Jimenez, after reviewing the evidence that we've just looked at, what if conclusion did you reach? I made the determination that somebody had taken that bottle, put gasoline in it, stuffed that cloth inside it, lit the cloth, cut the cloth of the roof, cut the roof of the vehicle, dropped it down inside. I believe that the cloth that fell out, burned, smoldered, and then the liquid splashed. And the bottle never broke, obviously. And then the fire just kind of self-contained inside the vehicle, causing damage, burn damage. And the origin was there on the seat. The driver's seat that it caused the most damage where the bottle had eventually landed. What did you include it, whether it was a random act? In my opinion, it was targeted for where the car was located. This car was not easily visible from the street. The car was not. And there were several cars, another car in the driveway that didn't get targeted. So I believe the Porsche was targeted closer to the home. I want to point out that the dog sitter was in the house. And the arson detective said, with the way everything was situated in the car, had they actually used a real cloth and it burned like it was supposed to, and the bottle combusted, that girl could have got hurt. Like an innocent dog sitter could have got hurt. I want to talk about the additional investigative steps that you took, starting with testing the evidence. So first, did you request that any of the items that we just saw tested for DNA? Yes. Which items? That would be 1, 3, 4, which would be the bottle, the cloth material, and the lighter. Did you personally collect or swab these items for DNA? I did not. Did you personally perform the DNA testing or analysis? I did not. Did you receive any results with respect to the DNA testing or analysis? Nothing came back on the item 3, 4, and I believe there was DNA hit on the bottle. Which? Item number 1. Items 3 and 4, that was the cloth, lighter and the cloth. And just to be clear, have you received any training with respect to interpretation of DNA testing? I have not. You said that DNA was recovered from the glass bottle. Is that right? Yes. I was informed that there was a partial DNA. Do you know where on the glass bottle the DNA was found? I do not. Do you know what areas of the bottle was swabbed for DNA? I do not. And you said that you were aware that there was a partial DNA profile recovered from the bottle. That's what the report informed me. And you're aware that the partial DNA was consistent with the female contributor. That's what it said. So first of all, do you know what that means to be a partial profile was consistent with the female contributor? Unfortunately, I do not know what that means. Do you know if any additional DNA was found on the bottles? I don't believe so. Do you know whether the presence of a DNA profile means that only one person touched the bottle? No, I do not. Do you know whether it's impossible to touch an object but not leave detectable DNA? Objection, sustained. In your experience, is DNA found commonly at arson scenes? Unfortunately, throughout my career, I've requested a DNA elide, and I've had very few hits with DNA. Focusing now on the fluid in the glass bottle. Can you remind the jury what it smelled like? Gasoline. Did you submit the fluid in the bottle for testing? We did. What sort of testing did you request? Trace analysis to identify what liquid was. Did you personally perform this trace analysis? No. Blah, blah. Turning down to fingerprints. Did you request that fingerprints be taken? I requested yes. I believe 1 and 4, maybe 3. I don't recall if 3 was requested, but we did request fingerprints on the bottle and the lighter. The bottle and the lighter, you said. Did you request fingerprinting of any other of the items? I did make a call to LAPD, Latin prints, to have them come and fingerprint the vehicle itself. That was the Porsche, yes. Did you personally take the fingerprints? I did not. Who did? I don't know. I wasn't present for the collection. Was it someone from your unit? No. Arson investigator? No. It was somebody from the LAPD. Is that standard protocol? Yes. Blah, blah. Were fingerprints recovered from the glass bottle of the Bic lighter? I have no idea, to be honest. I never received any report. Were fingerprints recovered from the Porsche? I believe there were 2 prints recovered. I don't know the results. You don't know the results? No. Did you collect any other fingerprints in this case? The victim had informed me that they had somebody come and print his house from a previous trespass, and that person's recovered 2 fingerprints on his glass front door, and that person put those on print cards and turned them over to me. What did you do after obtaining these print cards? The print cards were sealed in an envelope with the person's signature. Then I put them in another envelope I sealed for evidence and turned them to LAPD for print analysis. What did you mean by putting them into evidence? We take all our evidence that we collect and turn it over. We book everything with LAPD's evidence unit, and they store and collect all the evidence, and it's properly maintained through LAPD. Did you receive results related to those fingerprint cards? I did not. Now, you said that you entered these fingerprint cards into evidence. Did there come a time when you learned what happened? Yes, recently. What happened to the print cards? The 2 print cards I had turned in were destroyed. When were they destroyed? They were destroyed in August of 2012. Were you aware that they had been destroyed in August of 2012? I was not. Did you authorize the print cards being destroyed? I did not. Who ordered their destruction? Somebody within the LAPD. This is why I don't read over this before, so I can be surprised just like y'all. And y'all can put in the chat, do you think it's customary to destroy evidence within a few months? Is that typically the way that log evidence is destroyed? Not for evidence that I turn in. I'm the lead investigator, so everything goes through me before it's destroyed, unless it goes through our arson section. It will come through in a request if they want it destroyed or not, or returned back to the owner. And the LAPD employee who authorized the destruction wasn't you. No. Was that person a member of your team? No. Did this strike you as unusual? Yo. It clearly said it turned back 2 people. I mean, it turned up 2 people. Whoa. Was the person a member of your team? No. Does this strike you as unusual? Mr. Agnafilo, I'm going to object to all of this, Judge. The court. There was a question pending. I take it there's an objection to the question. Yes, that's sustained. I'll ask a different question, Your Honor. In your 15 years approximately as an arson investigator, has evidence been ordered destroyed by someone who was not a member of your team? Mr. Agnafilo, Your Honor, I object. And can we have a sidebar? Now, y'all, in the courtroom, once they're asking for like sidebars, you know the shit has hit the fan. But Nosy Rosie, even if it was a bottle that they found on the street, the prints were taken from also the doorknob of the car. Like, oh, this is some shit, y'all. Can we have a sidebar? You may. Now two things happen in a sidebar in the overflow room. It just goes silent, and we all start talking. In the main room, you hear like white noise, like static noise, and it's so that the jury can't ever overhear what's going on with the judge and the people to the left of the bench. The court, do you have any more questions along these lines? Ms. Slavic, no, that's my last question. Well, the objection to that question, which I take there is an objection, is sustained. Well, Your Honor, this is an item of evidence that he collected with respect to his investigation. I think he's entitled to explain to the jury what happened with respect to those evidentiary items. The court, well, if we're going to be asked, it would need to be rephrased. The way the question was posed was whether in his 15 years of experience, there's been evidence that has been destroyed by someone who is not within his chain of authority, something along those lines. That's right. Well, in fact, in what instances are you talking about? How would he know if evidence was destroyed if there was never any follow-up to determine whether any evidence was destroyed? And you're talking about the destruction of evidence when it's not within his chain of authority. So how would he know about that one or another? Ms. Slavic, I can ask in a way that frames it within his knowledge. Understood. But let me be clear. Mr. Agnifilo, there's a larger issue. There's an interference of wrongdoing here. There's an inference of wrongdoing here, which we are hearing for the first time, and which is utterly unfounded. They're clearly saying that something happened to cause these fingerprint cards to be destroyed suspiciously under circumstances that this witness has never seen before. And I'm asking that this entire line be struck as being prejudicial. That's clearly suggesting that Combs, with his authority, did something to cause the destruction of these print cards. There's no other reason for these questions other than that. Now, that's the inference, but technically, she didn't say, do you think Diddy destroyed these cards? She just said, where were they? He said they were destroyed. I feel like it's within reason for him to say that doesn't usually happen. But, I'm not the judge or the attorney. But if I was sitting on the jury, I would be like at the edge of my seat. I'd be awake again because I know I told y'all some of them be sleeping throughout these proceedings. What are y'all saying in here? Oh, y'all are fighting about Cassie's name. Okay. The court. I, for one, hearing the testimony, did not think that's where the government was going. I don't know where else. The court. Let me hear from Ms. Slavic. This is with respect to his investigation, and this material was in the 3500. Investigator Jimenez only recently learned of the destruction of these fingerprint cards in this matter. He learned of the destruction as of Friday. But what's the inference? What are you drawing? He says, what are you trying to address? It goes to the completion of the investigation. I think the defense is going to get up on cross-examination and suggest that it was a dead-end investigation. There were no charges, and there are reasons why. And this destruction of the print cards is one such reason. They could have left it at that. That's clearly not what they're doing. What they're clearly doing is saying, in addition, they could have just said, where are the print cards? They're destroyed. They didn't have to go further and say, you have ever heard of this before? Did you authorize it? That is clearly improper, and that's what they're doing. They are putting in front of this jury that there was wrongdoing in the LAPD. And the only reason that would be relevant, since this is not the LAPD internal investigation, is that someone in this courtroom had something to do with it, and that someone is Mr. Combs. Ms. Slavic, Your Honor, the court. Hold on. Again, that's not how I would have taken it. I understand the questions as they were coming in, as drawing the sting from potential cross-examination that would show that the destruction of the fingerprint cards is reason to question the entirety of the investigation to the arson incident. And I assume that that's what Ms. Slavic was doing, was trying to, anticipating that you are going to get up and say what you are talking about. You lost evidence that would show, possibly point to someone else as having done this and just mysteriously vanished before trial. Mr. Agnifilo. Then she said she would have waited for me to do that. And the last question is improper along those same lines. The judge. The last question is going to be rephrased. Now, y'all, I don't like this at all because that's the whole point. You try to trip the person up. That is literally the whole point of this, to trip them up. She got you. The prosecution just wore your ass out. And you arguing the point, it is what it is. If the jury infers that Diddy did it, the jury infers that Diddy did it. She didn't ask that question. I mean, come on now. Let me see. Miss Shapiro, that was only Miss Shapiro, that was the only reason that they asked the last question. There's no other legitimate reason consistent with their explanation. Mr. Agnifilo, it shows the motive all along. The motive, first of all, I wasn't going to bring up the print cards. The court, you can. Why didn't I have that queued up? Hold on. Let me see if that's he just pulled a Cassie, y'all. He literally just pulled the Cassie. You can. Do you want me to pull it up? We can. Let me see. Where is that? Because I found where I knew that phrase from. I found it the other day. Did I save it? I feel like I saved it the other day. Oh, damn it. Did I? I'll have it for the next one if I don't find it right now. Or is it saved? No, I didn't save it there. I'll have it for you tomorrow when we go live. But I knew I'd heard that we can somewhere. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
We won't go there, but we can.
I'll have it for y'all next time. I knew I heard that before.
We won't go there, but we can.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and save that real quick. It'll be up and running for the next time. I love when people do that shit. I love the back and forth with the judge and the prosecution and the defense. We can. And then one more step, and I think we are good. That's why I'm going to be back next week, no matter what. No matter what, I'm going to be back next week. And we are done with this one. Okay. Okay, so that was the only reason that they asked the last question. There's no other legitimate reason consistent with their explanation. It shows the motive all along. The motive, first of all, I wasn't going to bring up the print card. The judge, you can.
We'll go there, but we can. We'll go there, but we can.
I will tell you though, I do think the judge is enjoying the back and forth as well. Mr. Agnafilo. But then they should have done this on redirect. They did this not for that reason. They did this to suggest something improper happened. It's not just an LAPD matter because they wouldn't have asked all the other questions. In 15 years, have you ever heard of? It's suspicious. They're making it suspicious. Ms. Slavic, Your Honor, we discussed this yesterday with the defense raising a DNA testing issue with the testing results coming into play and the defense going to call into question the investigation and the lack of charges in this crime. I think as I flagged for your court, we plan to. The court. It was not flagged for the court, Ms. Slavic. I remember flagging for the court that the government will ask questions relating to the DNA testing, the gas testing, and the fingerprint testing. The court, yes, those questions were asked and there were no objections that were raised. This is a separate issue as I'm understanding. This is a separate issue, Ms. Slavic. I think we're entitled to draw this. The judge. Well, do you have any further questions other than this line? Ms. Slavic, no. Well, yes, I have further questions, but not related to this line of inquiry. My request is that all the questions and answers in regard to this witness be asked. In 15 years, you've never heard any such thing. You didn't authorize this to be done. The court. 15 years thing hasn't been answered. Mr. Agnafilo. Okay, that you didn't authorize this to be done. Ms. Slavic, I think he's absolutely entitled. Mr. Agnafilo. Excuse me. My request is that it be stricken. The court. I need a second to look at the transcript. The judge. For the jury, give us 1 second to sync up our technology here. Since we've been going on for a while, why don't we take a restroom recess? I'm sure everyone will appreciate it so people aren't just pulling their heels here. Okay. We're back in court. Investigator Jimenez will be back in 10 minutes. Okay. Okay, now that we are not in sidebar, can we? Okay, bring him back out, Judge. If we would like this issue to be addressed, yes. Or I suppose if it's appropriate to proceed in his absence, we can do it that way too. Let me get him, Judge. He's present, Judge. Thank you. The judge. All right, Ms. Slavic, what was the purpose of eliciting testimony concerning these fingerprint cards? Ms. Slavic, Your Honor, the defense clearly intends to attack the credibility of this investigation. They've already elicited certain details in the testimony of Mr. Muscati that, certain aspects of the investigation, the fact that no charges were brought up, the fact that the investigation kind of went nowhere. So I think we're entitled to establish what steps were taken and what steps were not taken and why those steps were not taken through Investigator Jimenez. So I think that this testimony regarding the fingerprint analysis falls squarely within the testimony of the investigative steps that were and were not taken and why. The judge, what does the destruction of fingerprint cards have to do with what you said? Because the outcome of the destruction of the fingerprint cards is that no fingerprints were obtained. There was nothing connecting anyone to the scene of this crime. And I think there's an important reason as to why, which is that these fingerprint cards were destroyed. The court. And what is the defense's proposal as to the instruction to be given to the jury? Mr. Agnafilo, I would like the court to. We're not having the live feed. Let me take a step back. Yes. When I heard the question, I assumed that there was a different reason why that line of inquiry was coming up. My assumption, and there was no objection for, I think, some of the initial questioning, was that there was going to be a line of cross-examination directed to the fingerprint cards, much in the same way that we anticipate there was a line of cross-examination to the DNA evidence. That does not appear to be the case from the defense's perspective. That also is not the case from the government's perspective, because I raised that issue and that isn't the reason why the testimony was brought up. It appears to have been brought up precisely for the reason that the defense suggests. However, at the present time, there's no inference one way or the other based on this particular testimony. That being said, I'm not. The defense's point about the very least at this juncture, a lack of relevance to the issues that there are in this case. I think we'll take it. I don't think that there is any prejudice from the line of questioning that we've heard so far. So my proposal will be to tell the jury to disregard the testimony concerning the fingerprint cards that they just heard and move on from there. Come on, why would you do that? So if I may, I think there is prejudice. And I think I have to just say it the way I think I see it. I think that what the government has done is outrageous. So now you're mad. And I haven't used that word I haven't used that word all trial, but I'm using it now. And they know that what they are doing. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were suggesting to this jury that someone in this courtroom had something to do with the improper and suspicious destruction of these fingerprint cards. And that's outrageous. And quite frankly, we are having discussions and I need a few more minutes before we hit ground on what, if any, other remedies we are going to ask in the light of that line of questioning. So before I do that, let me speak with my colleagues for a second, and I will, if it's okay with the court. I know we're trying to get back to the jury. We're trying to get the jury back in the box. If I could have a few minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, just to discuss with my colleagues. The court will let me hear from the government before we take a break, and then we'll come back at 11. Your Honor, I think that the inference is absolutely unwarranted here. I think it's very clear that the defense intended to attack the integrity of this investigation and specifically to attack the credibility of Investigator Jimenez. Let's see. I think this is relevant. I don't think there's prejudice. I'm happy to move on from this line of questioning, but I do think it's absolutely relevant that the fingerprint cards that the Investigator Jimenez obtained were destroyed shortly after the investigation. The judge, all right, thank you. We'll take a recess. We'll come back at 11, and then that will give you the time. Okay, so the judge comes back. All right. So having reviewed the transcript, my intent is to strike from the record any testimony regarding the fingerprint cards and the destruction of them, and to instruct the jury not to consider the testimony in this case. Now, if I'm sitting on the jury, I'm not gonna forget that happened. It's weird to say that somebody who's not in your department destroyed your evidence for a case. That's weird. It's also weird that you see a black SUV driving up. It says Diddy on it. It turns around, drives back up. It's super early in the morning, and you don't call out for a bolo for another cop to go get them. All of this is suspicious, and it's suspicious on Diddy's side. I mean, I don't think it's out of bounds to say that sometimes, no matter what career you're in, if you see a superstar, you might look the other way. Let's see. I want to get back to the questions. Oh, Shapiro comes in. Miss Shapiro. So then they get to the question, was this unusual? The judge, right? And then the last question was, wait, you got to that question, and then the first time there was an objection. Well, the judge, which I sustained, Ms. Shapiro, Your Honor, I understand that. But my point is that it was becoming clearer and clearer that this inference is what the government was doing this for, and the jury is going to be left with the impression. Absolutely, they're going to be left with the impression when the LAPD just destroyed something for no reason. Even the thought of, I feel like if you're destroying evidence, there should be like a chain of command. There should be like a line of inquiry into why you're choosing to destroy evidence only a few months after the crime occurred, while there's still an active investigation. Yes, this is weird, and it's weird. Even if Your Honor strikes the testimony, including not only those two questions where the objections have been sustained, but strikes the previous questions and answers and gives instruction, there's no way to unring this bell. Particularly those last two questions. First of all, it's clear from the last two questions that, respectfully, what the government was doing here, there's no reasonable way to interpret their motivation other than they were trying to plant an idea in the jurors that Mr. Combs was responsible for the destruction of these fingerprints. Otherwise, they would have just stopped at that point to elicit the testimony that the fingerprints are gone. Y'all, they done had a whole recess. They literally have had a sidebar. He's given them extra time, and they are still mad as hell over this. Sorry, hold on one second. Let me see. Okay. Let me make sure this is off. Okay. The judge. All right. Let's hear from the government. Ms. Slavic, Your Honor, respectfully, wait, hold on. Mistrial. This is where it gets good. Otherwise, they would have stopped at the point to elicit the testimony that the fingerprints are gone, that they don't exist anymore, and that would have been the end of it. So we respectfully submit that the only proper remedy to cure the outrageous prejudice caused by this is a mistrial. The judge. All right. Let's hear from the government. Ms. Slavic. Your Honor, respectfully, a mistrial is absolutely unwarranted here. There was a good faith basis for the questions asked by the government. I've been over those good faith reasons, and I simply think that there is no prejudice here, much less incurable prejudice that would require a mistrial. I think going back to our discussion yesterday about the DNA evidence, Mr. Agnifilo made very clear that the reason the DNA results were relevant here was because Investigator Jimenez was the lead investigator, and therefore it was appropriate to explore why certain steps were taken in the investigation and why certain steps weren't taken in the investigation. As I flagged for the court yesterday, given the court's ruling that Mr. Agnifilo could pursue such questions on cross-examination, that the government would elicit certain information about the testing, in this case, from Investigator Jimenez. That includes the DNA testing, the gas testing, and the fingerprint testing. I think here, with respect to the fingerprints, I think that there are curative instructions that the jury should not draw any inference from the destruction of the fingerprints. I think that sufficiently cures any possible prejudice in this case. The judge, the application for a mistrial is denied for the reasons stated by the government. In addition, I'll just offer the following, which is, as I said, there were no objections to these questions that were asked of the last two. As to those questions, the objections were sustained. There was no testimony, blah, 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 blah. Let's get back to the witness. Your mistrial was denied. Ms. Shapiro, yes, Your Honor. We would request that the court instruct the jury that the questions regarding the destruction of the fingerprint cards were improper and that the answers given were irrelevant to this case and this defendant and are not to be considered by you. Ms. Slavic, Your Honor, the government would consider that prejudicial to the government and an overcorrection of any possible. The judge, what's the difference between what you said, Ms. Slavic, and what Ms. Shapiro just offered? I think phrased differently. I think it's the same thing. Your Honor, I've been calling the government's question improper is absolutely unwarranted. Ms. Shapiro, Your Honor, they were improper and the court has found so. Okay, I want to get back to this guy because we still need to get to your motion. I mean, it was denied. It is what it is. They're not going to do the two questions. Sorry. Okay. The court. Yes, I will. The instruction I will give the jury should disregard. Sorry. So I'll instruct the jury that the questions regarding the destruction of the fingerprint cards and the answers given are irrelevant to this case and the defendants and are not to be considered by them. Thank you, Your Honor. All right, let's have our witness back. Thank God. I know the judge was annoyed. He really hates when they ask for extra time. Jury. Okay. Inspector Jimenez, before the break, we were talking about testing various evidentiary items that you recovered during your investigation. Do you remember that? Yes. Before we wrap up this morning, I want to talk to you briefly about the interviews that were conducted in connection with your investigation. Did you interview the owner of the Porsche? I did. Who was owner of the Porsche? Scott Muschetti. Because based on your interview with Mr. Muschetti, did you reach out to other potential witnesses? I did. Who did you reach out to? I reached out to one of his drivers named first name of Igor. I don't recall the last name. And then his personal assistant who was there on scene. And the person who provided those print cards. And then there was a question. Did you reach out to any individuals that did not work for Mr. Muschetti? Okay, I made attempts to reach out to people unsuccessfully. Who specifically did you attempt to reach out to? There was a suspect named by Mr. Muschetti, and there was an assistant that the suspect had. I reached out to that person unsuccessfully. And there was a common female involved between the two. I reached out, made an attempt to reach out to that person. Focusing on the person that you identify as the assistant, what was the assistant's name? It's in my report. I think it might have been Mary. I don't recall. I have to look at my report again. You referred to an assistant as a suspect. Do you remember that? Oh, her name was Capricorn. Mr. Agnifilo, Your Honor, I'll object to the use of the suspect. Court. All right, let's rephrase the question. Investigator Jimenez, you mentioned that you reached out to the individuals who were not employed by Mr. Muschetti. Is that correct? Correct. By who? It was a female named Capricorn. There was an individual named Igor I spoke about before. There was an assistant who did work for Mr. Muschetti who I spoke about. And then there was a common female between somebody who was identified. Do you remember the common female's name? Yes, her name was Cassie. So starting with Capricorn, were you able to make contact with Capricorn? I was not. Did you attempt to contact Capricorn? Several times. How many times? Multiple phone calls, door knocked the place of residence, half a dozen maybe. And when, if you remember, did you attempt to contact Capricorn? Within the immediate time frame of that investigation, within a couple months. You mentioned you attempted to reach out to a woman named Cassie. Correct. Were you able to make contact? No. How many times? Maybe a couple. Do you remember how you tried to reach out to Cassie? I tried to identify maybe where she lived. Was unable to. Telephone didn't. Wasn't able to get through via telephone. And then I made an attempt through a family member of hers. Were you able to reach her? Never. Now, just stepping back, Investigator Jimenez, you said that you concluded that the auto fire was deliberately set and the Porsche was targeted. That was my opinion. Were any charges brought? No. Why not? Mr. Agnifilo, I'll object to the form of question. Court, can you rephrase? You said that you did not. No charges were brought with respect to your case. Correct. What, if anything, did you need that you did not have in order to bring those charges? The court, sustained. They needed the damn print cards. That's what they needed. Investigator Jimenez, you said that no charges were brought related to this auto fire. Not at the time. Did you ever close the case? I did not close the case. What is the status of the case? It's listed as inactive pending anything further that may arise. Bislavik, nothing further. The court. Cross-examination. Mr. Agnifilo, good morning. Good morning. Investigator Jimenez, my name is Mark Agnifilo. I'm going to ask you some questions. I hate when he goes through this. You put a number of photographs into evidence this morning. I'm going to direct your attention to the particular one. So that's an evidence. If we can put on the screen and give it to the investigator, Jimenez, and jury. This is inside of the Porsche, correct? You see a glass bottle? Yes. You submitted that glass bottle for DNA testing. I did. And it came back with a hit, as you said, a partial hit. A partial hit that this bottle contained female DNA. That's what the report said. When you send out DNA, you send it to an external laboratory, right, within the LAPD. Bode Laboratories, does that sound familiar? I don't know the name of the laboratory. Let me show you something, if it's going to help. All right, you see that in front of you? I do. Yeah, I know. Do me a favor. If we could enlarge the top, blah, blah, blah. So my question is if, in this case, you sent this glass bottle to DNA testing to Bode Technology. Answer, I did not. Okay, did you? Judge, hold on. Are you trying to refresh the witness's recollection? Yes. The judge. All right, then. Then allow him to refresh his recollection. Mr. Agnifilo, I'm sorry, that's fine. The court. Then ask him some questions. I tell you, the judge really does get kind of like nippy with these people. The judge definitely gets into it with these people. Oh, yeah, somebody said I'm working hard. Likes are free. Yeah, definitely hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And I'll be back in court on Monday. Let me see. Sent the glass bottle to Bode Technologies for DNA testing. Incorrect. Question, okay, how did that happen? Let's go back. Question, all right. So do you remember if, not you personally, but you and the other people who were working, the judge, let's take the document down. Mr. Agnifilo, we can take it down. The judge, ask your questions. Question, we're working on the fire investigation, sent the glass bottle to Bode Technologies for DNA testing. He says that's incorrect. Okay, how did that happen? I have no idea. Did you receive a report from Bode Technology? I don't recall who the report came back from. Do you remember seeing a report? I did a report. Okay, do you remember seeing a report indicating that the glass bottle tested positive for a female's DNA? I think we testified to that. Yes, there was a partial female. Okay, and after that, you reached out for Capricorn Clark, isn't that right? Not after that. I think it was all during the same time frame. When was the first time you reached out for Capricorn Clark? I would imagine I recall within the first 2 weeks of the incident. Do you remember? I don't recall. Do you have a specific recollection one way or the other? It was within that immediate time frame before I turned in my report. Are you sure about that? Y'all, that are you sure about that probably makes these people like... It, you know, like when you're going down a hill, whenever they say, are you sure about that? Because you don't want to perjure yourself on the stand. This man is literally just the arson detective, but they will make him look like the criminal. especially Mark and Brian Steele. Did you reach out several times? Made a couple phone calls and did a door knock at our location. Do you remember reaching out for her in August of 2012? It's possible. Okay, that would have been right after you got this report. I don't recall. Isn't August around the same time that those print cards were destroyed? So put it in the chat if you remember. The print cards were destroyed. I want to say it was around August, right? August of 2012. As they are constantly calling Capricorn, calling Cassie. That's a little suspicious. Let me see. Do you recall the report came back on or about March 22nd, 2012? I don't recall that, to be honest. Do you know about when it came back? Within the first year of the investigation. Okay. And aside from a year, can you tell us anything more specific about when the DNA report came back from the bottle? I mean, it's the time frame would be probably within maybe 6 months to a year. I don't recall. You don't recall. I don't recall when the report came back. No. All right. I would have to go through like my previous emails when it was given to me. All right. So let's talk about government exhibit. Do you have that in front of you? No, not yet. Put it in front of the fire investigator. So here we have the glass bottle that you say was dropped in through the top of the car. Correct. Okay. And this glass bottle, when you recovered it, contained a certain amount of gasoline. Yes. All right. And so your theory, as you just told us, is that the glass bottle was the source of the fire in the car. It's an opinion. Yes. Okay. And that was your opinion as a trained fire investigator. Correct. And so who made the decision to send this glass bottle off to DNA test it? I did. Okay. So you realize it's possible that there's going to be important evidence on this bottle, correct? Yes. And you sent it off to be tested. Yes. And you would be expecting results on that. Yes. Miss Slavic, objection. It's overruled. Right. So, yes, it's important to your investigation to know if your glass bottle comes back with DNA on it. Correct. So this is something that you would be looking forward to seeing. Correct. And you got results back that, in fact, there was a female DNA on the glass bottle. Partial female, yes. Okay, partial female. What does that mean to you? I have no idea. So did you find any, did you do any follow-up? Did you figure this out? I asked what that meant, and I was told that if I could come up with maybe a sample of somebody or a suspect, maybe they might be able to match. Other than that, I have no idea what that was referring to. But it was a female DNA. That's what the report said. That's the only DNA that came back in the case. Am I right? On that, yes. Objection, that's sustained. The jury should disregard the witness's last answer. That was kind of snippy. He said, that's the only DNA that came back in the case. Am I right? This ninja said, on that, yes. You can usually tell when the witness is kind of tired of answering questions and tired of almost getting tripped up. They get a little snippy. To your knowledge, did any other Ms. Slavic objection? DNA come back? That's sustained. So this glass bottle comes back with female DNA. Is there any other DNA that's on the glass bottle? Objection. You've got to rephrase the question. All right. You sent the number of objects off for DNA. Yes. You sent the cloth. Correct. You sent the bottles. Yes. You have to say yes or no. Yes. I'm sorry. You sent the lighter. Yes. Now I want to show the government blah, blah, blah. Do you see the lower left-hand corner of that photograph seems to be a black object? Do you see that? I don't. Do you see a black object on the passenger seat in the rear? Yes. Do you know what that is? I think it's a glove. It's a glove. Okay, I'm going to ask that the witness be shown what has been introduced but not admitted yet. Blah, blah, blah. This is another one of the photographs that were taken that day. Correct. Okay, you didn't discuss this one on your direct examination. Am I right? Correct. Okay. The court, any objection? No. That's a glove, right? Yes. Did you find a second glove? I don't recall. So in the car, there is a bottle, right? You have to answer yes or no so she can write it down. Yes. There's a fabric, right? That was burned. The piece of cloth, you said it was a fancy napkin or a handkerchief. Yes. And there was a liquid gasoline. Yes. And there was a glove. This one single glove in the back seat. Am I right? Yes. Without a second glove, am I right? No second glove found. I don't recall the second glove. Okay, did you test the glove for DNA? No, we did not. Okay, did you look at the glove? Did you examine the glove? I believe it belonged to the owner. Belonged to the owner of the car. Did you ask the owner of the car if it was his glove? I believe so, yes. Did you ask him why there was one in the car? I did not ask him. It was a driving glove, according to him. A driving glove? Yes. So let's talk about this. So the one driving glove belonging to the owner was in the backseat of the car. Is that what you were telling us? That's where we observed it, yes. You observed it, and this photograph was taken of the one driving glove belonging to the owner in the backseat of the car. Objection, Your Honor, form. It's overruled. But let's keep in mind that there may be objections to repeating questions along these lines. I understand. Let me ask you a different question. Did you think it was significant that a single glove was in the backseat of the car? I did not. Okay, you thought it was significant enough that you talked to the owner about it, though, right? Yes. And you asked him if he knew about it, and he said it was his glove, correct? That's my recollection, yes. Now, so did you not send this glove for any sort of testing? I did not collect the glove as evidence. You didn't even take the glove as a piece of evidence. No. Now, do you know how the one glove would have gotten into the car? I have no idea. And you agree with me that how far? See, let's look at 853. You see these markings, these black kind of blotches on the console of the back of the rear seat. Do you see that? Blah, blah. Now I see it. Do you now see it? I do now. Thank you. All right. And you see the black sort of splotch in between the two seats in the rear. Yes. What is that? It's my opinion. It's a drop-down material from the canvas roof. Okay, so the roof, right above where these black marks are, that's where the roof was cut. And it was also burned. But it was cut there and it was burned there, right? Yes. Okay, and you premise, and your premise was that the Molotov cocktail was dropped in that part of the roof. That was my opinion, yes. Did you think it was a possibility that the person who was holding the Molotov cocktail would have been wearing a glove? It's possible. Okay, because the Molotov cocktail would get hot, right? No. After you set it on fire, no, it doesn't get hot. At what point it's on? At one point it's on fire, right? The wick is on fire, so part of it is on fire, right? The cloth material will be on fire. So if I were holding a Molotov cocktail and I lit it, objection, it's overruled. My hand would be close to the fire, correct? It would be close to the bottle. It would be on the bottle. That's how Molotovs operate. They throw them. That's not my question. So, guys, in the courtroom, this is where things get interesting. We clearly know that Diddy did this shit. But when I'm telling you guys, like, the ease at which Mark, I always get her name wrong. Is it McAllister? McComb? Let me see. I always get her name wrong. It's not Westmoreland. They trip you up. And this is definitely a trip up because there's no way that we aren't looking at, like, we're looking at the same thing. The man says that the glove in the backseat of the car is his own glove. We have now made the glove the evidence and not the fact that the fingerprints taken on the actual weapons used to destroy the car are missing. They are really, really good at, they are definitely earning their money. Because now you're like, well, shit. What he's basically doing is making you believe that Kid Cudi burned his own car. Okay, so my hand would be close to fire. He said it would be close to the bottle. It would be on the bottle. That's how Molotovs work. They throw. That's not my question. Okay. My question is, if I was holding a Molotov cocktail, yes, and I lit it, my hand would be close to the flames that lit it, correct? Sure. Okay, so let's look. Let's take a few steps back. We're going to go through some of these photographs. Let me see. Did you go through that door? I did not. You never went through that door. No. Let's go to now. I think I said that it was a long driveway. We see the driveway in this photograph, correct? And I think we see a black Porsche up front. Do you see that? Yes. All right. Then there's a red Mercedes. And I think there was a black colored Jeep. Correct. This vehicle we see on the left, a Chevy of some sort. Do you know what that is? Was that a law enforcement vehicle? Yes. That's the vehicle we arrived in. That's my question. That's your car. Somebody said that some of this is mundane. Yeah, I believe so. It was adjacent to the garage door. Okay, so let's do this. Let's look at AC 106 to orient us. That's what you're talking about, right? That's the one you're referring to. Yes, that's the garage. The larger door is the garage door. Correct. All right. And the other door is your entry into the house. I don't recall. We're going to skip these questions. You said there were intentional cuts that looked to you to be intentional on the roof. I formed an opinion they made a cut. I don't know if they made two, but there was some burn damage that occurred from the fire. Okay, just so that the jury understands what you're saying. So the material that is the sort of the inside of the opening that's burn damage. The way that looks, that's from heat, correct? Can you rephrase your question? Yes. What's on the top of the car made out of? I don't know, to be honest. I don't know Porsche material. All right, sorry. So the burn damage you're talking about, though, this is material that is the sort of like slightly discolored. The burn damage that we're referring to in the other photo, the one that we're looking at right now, right? What is your question? I'm sorry. Where is the burn damage? It looks like heat damage to the left side of the cut. So the heat damage is different than the fire damage. Am I right? I consider it the same. I mean, it's part of the fire damage. All right. So from what you can tell, was this part ever on fire? I think it's got affected by the radiant heat. Yes. That is really my question. So this damage comes from the heat from the fire inside the car. It's not your conclusion that it was on fire, right? I don't know how extensive the fire was, but in my opinion, heat rose from the seat of the vehicle and it caused the damage to the interior of the roof, which we previously showed pictures of. Okay, so now we're back to the handkerchief. Are we talking about the handkerchief? Yes, the handkerchief. It looked like a cloth material handkerchief. So this is that white thing that is partially burned is the handkerchief. Correct. It's not all the way around burned. Do you agree with me? Yes. It has some burn damage and some parts of it were not burned at all. Am I right? Yes. Now, does that mean to you that, let's look at a few more photographs. See what he does? We're looking at the handkerchief. We're not really establishing anything with the handkerchief. And then he's going to throw you a curveball. He continuously does these line of questioning. Here's the bottle. Now, all right. Now, gasoline is a liquid. It's ignitable liquid. Yes, it pulls. It tends to go downward and pulling at the lowest point. Correct? I don't understand the question. It's not a gas, right? You mean fumes? I'm asking you. The gasoline that you recovered was a liquid, right? Inside the bottle? Okay. And looking at the damage that you see here, is it consistent with liquid gasoline pouring out of this bottle to the left and then dropping down into the seat of the car? I think it's visual inside that whole seat where you would drop the bottle, the wick would fall, get stuck in the side. The bottle would tip over and spill more gasoline. So you would see more damage there where the fire was burning. So the majority of the damage is right near the opening of the glass bottle. Am I right? Where you see that one, yes. Oh my God, Mark is getting on my nerves. This is probably when I would be drinking my 5-hour energy because he's really annoying. I mean, he's good at his job, but some of these questions, you're making them go over these questions till they start to feel like maybe I was wrong, which is effective, I guess. Do you see burn damage in the direction of the front seat of the bottle? I don't see what you're referring to. You would have to point it out. Let's focus on the bottle. You see the bottle, right? Yes. There's a burn damage on both sides of the opening, correct? Both sides of the opening of the bottle? Correct. Meaning like to either side. Like if the bottle is here, to either side. Yes, that's right. I see what you're saying. Yes. Good. That was my question. Okay. All right. So the majority of the damage, though, is to the part of the seat where the rear seat meets the back of the seat. Am I right? As opposed to it moving in the direction of the steering wheel. Yes. I see what you're saying. Okay. And my question is that because the gasoline is a liquid and so it tends to go down, it drops. It's affected by gravity. It goes down and pulls at the low point, correct? I don't understand what you're saying. He's getting annoyed just like me. I don't understand what you're saying, but if you can let me elaborate what you're trying to say, sure, go ahead. For my opinion, what happened, the bottle was dropped. Where the base is, the wick got caught, which is where you would see the unburned part of the wick, which is why inside the bottle, the wick smoldered and the bottle flipped and then did distribute a little bit of gasoline there. A lot of gasoline stayed in the bottle. You have fumes and still burning when the gas platters. Here's my question. You can see what you call the wick between the driver's seat and the console. You see the white part of there, correct? So if, not in this photo, but yes, I know what you're talking about. You don't see the white there. Not in this photo. Okay, so if the wick falls out of the bottle, my question is, how does the fire move to this part of the seat if the wick is already out of the bottle? Well, you have flame disbursement from the fumes, and then you have the gas emitting. Guys, we're not doing this. We're going to get to where he like sticks it to him because we're definitely not doing this. This is what I'm telling you. I'm so glad you're getting to see what I see in court. Sometimes the jury is literally sleeping. Sometimes the jury is literally sleeping. I can't tell a high-powered attorney what they should be doing. But we're gonna skip this. We're not looking at another photo. So why did you take a picture? I did not take the picture. My partner did. Why did, to your knowledge, would your partner take a picture of it? I have no idea why he took that picture. So there's a second Porsche though, right? That was Mr. Moschetti's Porsche, correct? That's my understanding. Let's look at the government. Here we can see much liquid is on the Old English bottle. You see that? Correct. So that obviously did not burn up in the fire because it's still the bottle. Yes. All right. And if it's significant with your premise that the wick that was on fire fell out of the bottle when the bottle tipped over to the left, that's my opinion. How long do you cross-examine this man? You have no indication in your report as to when you did that, correct? Correct. Objection, asked and answered, overruled. Can you tell us a month? It would have been within a month. Probably that first few weeks, maybe. Are you sure? Yes. You're sure? That's my recollection. So tell me about how you recall. Where were you when you recall? Tell us everything you recall about making those phone calls. Now, he has done this before. Literally, this is his shtick. He has said those exact words in this trial. Tell us how you recall things. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen this play before. Ms. Slavic, objection, argumentative. It's overruled. Go ahead. Sure. I reached out, left messages, got no response, got no return call. I believe Capricorn's brother answered the phone. I got in an argument with him for me to leave her alone. She wanted nothing to do with me. She wanted nothing to do with the investigation. She wanted, and he and I got in an argument about it. He was impeding my investigation. I had questions for her, strictly just as an investigative side. She wasn't in any trouble, and I got in a verbal confrontation with him over the phone, on her phone. That was the last of my attempts. All right. With Mrs. Ventura, did you ever make contact with any sort? I did not. How many times did you try? Maybe a couple. I did reach out to her. I was able to contact her father, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Who is the fireman? Yes, sir. Ms. Ventura never called you back. She never returned. I asked and I pleaded with him to reach out to her to see if she would answer some questions. He said he would let her know. I just wanted to talk to her on the investigative side, and she never reached out to me. And nobody called you back. She did not call me back. And in regard to Mr. Moschetti, as soon as he told you that the one glove in the car was his, you didn't do anything to investigate it. Correct. I don't think I have any more questions, but let me check. Do you remember if you put anything in this report about this single glove that you found in the backseat of the car? I don't think I did. Mr. Agnafilo, one more second, Judge. Thank you, sir, Judge. All right, redirect. Ms. Slavic, just briefly, Your Honor. Redirect examination. Investigator Jimenez, you were just asked a series of questions about the glove that was found in the back of the car. Do you remember that? Yes. And you didn't collect the glove as evidence. Yes. Why not? I did not. Can you remind the jury why not? It was irrelevant to my investigation. The owner said it belonged to him. At any point when you spoke to the owner, that's Mr. Muschietti, did you have any impression that he did not want you to investigate this issue? Objection. That's sustained. You spoke with Mr. Muschietti. Is that right? Yes. Can you remind the jury when you first spoke to him? The day of the incident. And how soon after you spoke to Mr. Muschietti did you reach out to Capricorn? I made attempts, I think, within weeks after. To be clear, was the reason that you reached out to Capricorn because you received a DNA report? No. Ms. Slavic, nothing further. The court, all right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Investigator Jimenez. Thank God we've moved on. The government call is next witness. Would you like to take the break? Shit, I would like to take a break. The government calls Deontay Nash. Finally. Finally, we're here. We're here. But we're gonna skip through the fluff. Blah, blah, blah. We're not gonna do that. Deontay Nash. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna get a piece of cookie. I deserve a damn cookie for this. Okay. We're back. It's way past my bedtime. We're back. Okay. Sorry. I love these cookies from the Great American the Great American Cookie Company. They're called Domino's. Okay. Actually, okay. Let me stop. I got to go with my trainer in the morning. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Did the subpoena require you to appear today? Yes. Did you want to testify? Absolutely not. What do you do for work? I'm a celebrity stylist. So Deonte has deactivated his Instagram, but he did not deactivate. I guess at one point he was trying to do the Deonte show. Well, let me just get a picture of him. Deontay Nash. Okay. So this is Deonte. We first heard about Deonte when I think Cassie was testifying. It was either Cassie or her best friend. Diddy was beating up on Cassie, and Deonte was the first dude to actually jump on Diddy in defense of Cassie. Okay. Okay. Literally, that's what I'm doing in court, y'all. I'm not supposed to. Well, before we got in trouble for eating, I would be eating like a cookie or maybe like a Rice Krispie treat and taking my 5-hour energy. And my defense, some of the jurors actually sleeping. He's a celebrity stylist. Can you explain that? I shop a little. I do a little designing for music videos, all fun stuff. I would like to direct your attention to 2008. What were you doing for work? I was working with Sean Combs and Cassie. What were you doing with Sean Combs and Cassie? Styling. Who did you style? Puff and Cassie. Could we please pull up? Oh, Comey is examining him. We're going to skip these. Excuse me. He's identifying Cassie. How did you get hired? I moved to New York. Maybe like 2 weeks later, I responded to a Craigslist ad, and it kind of went on from there. Bad Boy was on Craigslist? Oh. Diddy reminds me more of a back page kind of dude. So who was your first position? I was an intern. The fashion department with Derek Roche. The fashion department of what? Bad Boy Entertainment. Who ran Bad Boy Entertainment? Sean Combs. Let me see. And you said that you were an intern with Derek Roche. Who was Derek? That was Puff's main stylist. About when did you stop working with Mr. Combs? 2018. We don't need to go through the exhibit. Not is it a glamour shot? I'm dead. Okay. Why would she do this to this dude? Is this a fair and accurate depiction of what you look like during your part of time you work for Mr. Combs as a stylist? He says no. She says, is it a glamour shot of you? He says, yes, I look amazing. Were glamour shots still around in 2008? Let's see. Do y'all remember glamour shots? These were glamour shots. If you don't know what a glamour shot was. Who was doing glamour shots in 2008? Usually would be okay. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm sorry. Deonte said he looked amazing, y'all. New bottle of water. Can we take that down? Thank you. I wasn't expecting this to start off shady. What was your relationship like with Miss Ventura? We were very close. Based on your interactions with Miss Ventura between 2009 and 2008, who did you understand she was in a relationship with? Puff. How did you learn that Miss Ventura and Mr. Combs were in a relationship? I mean, I was around every day. About when did you learn that they had started being in a relationship? Very early. Do you remember what year? 2009. I would like to focus on the period of 2009 to 2008. During that time, how much time did you spend with Miss Ventura? Almost every day. Damn. How close were you? Very close. About how often did you see Miss Ventura interact with Mr. Combs? Pretty often. So you give us a sense about how often you would see the two of them interact. At minimum, once a week. I would like to focus on those in-person interactions. What, if any, names did you hear Mr. Combs call Miss Ventura in front of you? Now, this is interesting. So let me kind of describe the setup of the attorneys. You have a row of 6 Caucasian female attorneys who look like they were very by the book. Like, these women look like the overachievers. So even when, especially Comey, I mean, you all know who her father is. Everything is so specific, and she is so quick to put in the time frame. But the prosecution is always objecting to the defense because they don't establish the time frame. Like, you'll see that she is very by the book. She's a very measured person, just like her father. Oh, but you guys can't even see it. Yes, that is what Garagos called them, a 6-pack of white women. Let me take the I'm gonna take the glamour shots off. I'm sorry. Here we go. What, if any, names did you hear Mr. Combs call Miss Ventura? Baby girl, CC, Cass, bitch, slut, hoe. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that. Not great. Let's read that again. What names, if any, did you hear Mr. Combs call Miss Ventura? Baby girl, Cece, Cass, bitch, slut, hoe. About how many times do you remember hearing Mr. Combs call her a bitch? Quite a bit. That was fave. I'm sorry, Judge. I couldn't hear the last answer. I said quite a bit. That was his fave. In what context did you hear Mr. Combs call Cassie a bitch? Bitch, stop playing with me. Bitch, you better bring your ass to this house. I mean, I was there for quite some time. What was Mr. Combs' tone when you heard him say those things to Cassie? Sometimes he would be calm, sometimes irate, but he was always. About how often did you hear Mr. Combs refer to Cassie as a hoe or a slut? Quite a few. In what context? He told her that she was just an outright hoe. He told her she was nothing but a slut anyway. What was Mr. Combs' tone when he would say those things? He was pretty irate. How did Miss Ventura react when Mr. Combs said those things? She, objection, time period, Judge. There's a time period. Talking about the statements he just testified to, Your Honor, that's overruled. So when you heard Mr. Combs say these things, you were just testified to Mr. Nash. How do you observe Miss Ventura react? She would be sad. What would she do? Sometimes cry, sometimes go into a depression. Objection, Your Honor. Move to strike the last part. Overruled. Pardon me. During the time period between 2009 and 2008, what, if any, threats did you personally hear Mr. Combs make to Miss Ventura in front of you? That he would beat her ass. That he wouldn't put her music out. That he would get her parents fired from their jobs and he would send her sex tapes to their jobs. He would start there. God damn. That's the starting point? Let me break each of those down, please. About how many times do you remember hearing Mr. Combs say in front of Miss Ventura that he would beat her ass? Quite a few. What was Mr. Combs' tone when you heard him say that? He was pretty angry. How did Miss Ventura react each time you heard him say that to her? It drove her crazy. What do you mean? She would be super emotional. Can you explain what you mean? She would cry. Sometimes she would just stay in the house for days and go in a cocoon. Next, you said that you heard Mr. Combs say that he would not put Cassie's music out. About how many times did you hear Mr. Combs say that to Cassie in front of you? Quite a few. In what context? When we were working on the mixtape, anytime she did something that he didn't like, he always said that, y'all little mixtape ain't coming out. Objection, Your Honor. Form of the question. Judge, hold on. Mr. Nash, when there was an objection, just hold on for a second, then I'll let you know if you can answer. Ms. Comey, I think I asked for context. The judge, hold on. It's overruled. Sorry. Why don't we get a fresh question? When there is an objection, all you need to say is objection. We'll pause and I'll look at it. Ms. Comey, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Nash, we'll come back to the mixtape in a bit. I just want to ask you about another threat you said you heard Mr. Combs make. About how many times did you hear Mr. Combs threaten to do something to Miss Ventura's parents? One off the top of my head. And that one time, where were you? Sitting right next to her in the car. And about what year was that? 2012, 2013. We'll come back to that as well. During that same time period between 2009 and 2018, about how many times do you remember hearing Mr. Combs say that you and Miss Ventura could not go out without his permission? Twice. When is the first time you remember that? The first time was when we went to a gay club with Rita Ora and Adrienne Ballon. Let me ask you about that. About what year was this? 2013. Are you estimating? Yes. And you said you went to a gay club. Who went to the gay club? Me, Cassie, Kyle, Rita, Adrian. And after going to the gay club, wait. Was Adrian Bylon friends with Rita Ora? And they both dated the same dude? Rob Kardashian. Okay, so 2007 to 2009. When did Rita Ora? A couple years later. That's weird. I don't know. Okay. What year was this? 2018. Are you estimating? Yes. And you said that you went to a gay club. Who went to the gay club? Me, Cassie, Kyle, Rita, Adrian. And after going to the gay club, where did that group of people go? To Cassie's apartment. Where was Cassie's apartment at the time? 818 Doheny. Let's look that up. Okay, that's pretty nice. I mean, of course, it was pretty nice if Diddy was paying for it. Okay. Okay. Was that in Los Angeles? Yes. And when that group was back at Cassie's apartment, what, if any, phone calls did you observe Cassie receive? A call from Puff. What happened when she got a call from Mr. Combs? He told her that, hold on. Did she answer it? Yes. And were you able to hear the other side of the call? Yes. How? It was on speaker. So over speakerphone, what did you hear Mr. Combs say? That she better bring her ass to his house. What happened next? She started to panic. And then Puff called back and he talked to me at the moment and told me that we were wilding and that he thought he told us not to be going out. And since every time I go out, that bitch want to go out, then I need to stay my ass home too. So what did you understand Mr. Combs was telling you? Mr. Donaldson, objection, overruled. What did you understand Mr. Combs was telling you? To stay home. And when you referred to that bitch in this conversation, who did you understand Mr. Combs was referencing? Cassie. What did Cassie do after Mr. Combs made these phone calls to you and her? She just packed her stuff and went to his house. During your time as Miss Ventura's stylist, in your experience, how much control, if any, did Mr. Combs demand over her appearance? Objection, sustained. In your experience as Miss Ventura's stylist, what did you have to get approval of looks that you prepared for? How did you have to get approval of looks that you prepared for Miss Ventura? Objection, that's overruled. You can answer it. We had to send all the photos of him to approval. We had to send all the photos to him for approval. Photos of what? Cassie's options from the fittings. So outfits that she might wear. Outfits that she would wear, yes. And who would you send these pictures to? Puff. What, if any, conversations would you have with Mr. Combs about those outfits? We would pick which one he liked, and that's usually the one we went with. I want to direct your attention to the year 2014. Did you attend the Vanity Fair party? Yes. Could you explain what Vanity Fair is? Blah, blah, blah. We're not doing that. Who did you attend the Vanity Fair party with? Puff, Cass, Derek, and a couple of other people from the team. Who did you arrive at the party with? Cassie. When you and Cassie arrived at the party, who else was already there? Puff. What interactions did you have with Mr. Combs at that party? He said, I thought I effing told y'all that she needed to wear her hair up. Let me back up. How was Miss Ventura's hairstyle when you arrived at the party? Oh, she looked bomb. Her hair was down. Objection, all the way to her shoulders. It's overruled. Her hair was like down, cut straight. And when Mr. Combs came and this conversation was with and had this conversation with you, what did he say? Let's look up Cassie Vanity Fair party 2014. So we can see if she looked bomb. Her hair isn't down though. Let's see. I want to see Cassie Vanity Fair 2014 outfit. I don't see a photo of Cassie from the Vanity Fair party in 2014. Maybe there's a oh no, is this it? I know, I think that's the Golden Globe. So maybe there's a reason. Usually you can always Google a photo of like a famous person. I thought I told you she needed to wear her hair up. What did Mr. Combs do physically when he said that to you? Grab me by my jacket and lifted me up. What was Mr. Combs' tone as he was grabbing you by your jacket and lifting you up? Angry. How did you respond? I just started asking people in the party for hairpins. I told Derek he needed to go deal with her and take them to the bathroom. And they went to go fix her hair in the bathroom. Who went to the bathroom? Derek Roche, Puff, and Cassie. What happened after? When he came out, he said, y'all was right. It does look better down. Who said that? Puff. During her relationship with Mr. Combs, did you observe Mr. Ventura record music? Miss Ventura record music, yes. How often did you accompany Miss Ventura to the studio? Quite often. And what, if any, role did you play in helping her record music during her relationship? I helped her pick songs. I probably should have been called an executive. Objection, objection. I can ask another question. All right. What, if any, role did you play in helping Miss Ventura prepare a mixtape? Help come up with the creative and help pick songs. Now, you talked about this mixtape earlier. Could you explain Miss Ventura's mixtape was? It's a body of work, like a promotional body of work she put out. Almost like an album, but it's not. How is the mixtape put out? Objection. It's overruled. Mr. Donaldson. Let me see. Is this the black attorney? Diddy attorney. All of his shit is being overruled. Xavier Donaldson. It is him. All of his stuff has been overruled. Yeah, this is okay. Objection overruled. You can put it online for free, or you can just put it on the streaming platforms. What was Miss Ventura's mixtape called? Rockabye Baby. About when was it put out? April 2013. And it was put out for free, or it was put out for sale online for free? To your knowledge, was it ever sold? No. Based on your participation in the preparation of the release of the mixtape, what was your understanding of who decided the mixtape would be sold? Objection, overruled. Why did they choose Xavier to go up against Comey? Overruled. Puff. What, if any, conversations were you present for with Mr. Combs about whether the mixtape should be sold? He said that if it did well, then it can go on streaming platforms. Do you have any understanding how well the mixtape did? Objection. With free downloads? Objection. We've got to wait until the end of the questions, Mr. Donaldson. My apologies. I can't understand what the question is. It's overruled. I'm telling you guys. He did really well with I always F up her name. I don't know why I want to call her Mick Allister, but I'm gonna have to write her name down. Westmoreland. I don't know why I don't. I'm just gonna start saying Nicole. He did really well with Nicole, but this guy can't get an objection sustained to save his life. So, Ms. Comey, why don't you ask the question again? Do you have any understanding how well the mixtape did with free downloads? It did really well. It was the top mixtape of that year. Was it? Damn. Was it ever sold online? No. Who made that decision? Puff. Did Rockabye Baby have that song with Nicki Minaj? I think it's called The Boys. During your time withdrawn. During Miss Ventura's relationship with Mr. Combs, about how often did you personally observe her recording music? Pretty often. Would you give us a little more context? I mean, during an example is, I guess, towards the end of their relationship, she was recording an album. We stayed there so much. She decorated the studio room with photos. In the next room, she had a TP, and we literally slept in there. You said she was recording an album towards the end of her year of the end year of her relationship with Mr. Combs. To your knowledge, was that album ever released? No. What percentage of music that Ms. Ventura recorded during her relationship with Mr. Combs was actually released? Objection. We can ask some initial questions to lay foundation. Ms. Comey, sure. Mr. Nash, you said that you were present when Ms. Ventura recording music at multiple points throughout her relationship with Mr. Combs. Is that right? Yes. Do you have a sense, based on your relationship with Ms. Ventura and your personal role, of how much music she recorded during her relationship with Mr. Combs? A lot. Hundreds of songs. Do you have an understanding of approximately what percentage of the songs you recorded were actually released? Objection. Just yes or no. That's overruled. You can answer. I'm telling. Exactly. It's just consistent. It's just he just rolls through the objections. Do y'all remember? I think the first week when he just kept asking about the sexual positions Cassie was taking with the escorts. It was just sexual position after sexual position after sexual position. Okay, well, where did the escort come? Where did the escort nut? Where did the escort put it in? Were you doing doggy style? Like to the point where the judge told him, I don't see the relevance in this line of questioning. How like oh that's overruled. You can answer yes or no. Do you have an understanding? Yes. And what was the understanding? I would say I'm being generous by saying 10%. Ms. Coleman, Your Honor, this is a good place to break for lunch. The court, good. Thank you very much. They went to lunch. Mr. Nash, we'll see you back at 1:15. Please be seated. Ms. Coleman, as to the 2013 conversation between Ms. Ventura and Mr. Nash, to the extent that Mr. Nash addresses Ms. Ventura's state of mind concerning the sex acts, that would be her present state of mind, meaning at that time, in 2013, she did not want to engage in those acts. The reason I asked the question, that conversation has to do with the sex tapes. I want to make sure he's not going to say that those sex acts that are depicted in those tapes were without consent, because that would not be the then existing state of mind of Ms. Ventura. Ms. Coleman, yes, Your Honor. That is not how I believe the testimony will come out. If I can refer to my notes, I want to be precise in my proffer. We're not going to go through these. We're not doing this. We're going to go back to his testimony, because right now I would usually be at lunch. Okay, good. Welcome back. Please be seated. Good afternoon, Mr. Nash. I would like to follow up on the topic we were touching on before the break. So before the break, you testified about Ms. Ventura's recording of music. Do you remember that? Yes, ma'am. And I think earlier in your testimony, you testified that you had personally heard Mr. Combs threaten not to put out some of Ms. Ventura's music. Did I hear that right? Yes. Could you please tell the jury in what context you heard Mr. Combs threaten not to put out Ms. Ventura's music? He told her that one time if she told her that one time if she keeps having a smart ass mouth, her little mixtape won't be coming out. Do you remember about when that was? It had to be about 2012, 2013. And do you remember what Ms. Ventura was doing before Mr. Combs made that comment? I think she just responded to him in a normal fashion. In a normal fashion? Do you remember what Mr. Combs' tone was when he made the threat to her? Pretty regular. Calm, calm. I want to switch topics now. Approximately how many times in person have you witnessed Mr. Combs be violent with Ms. Ventura? Quite a few. But 3 that really stand out. So do some of those stand out more in your mind than others? Yes. I want to talk about some of those. First, I would like to pull up what's in the evidence. So blah, blah, blah. Is that your screen? Judge, it's not on the screen yet. Let me know when it's on your screen. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, I'm going to call that person Mia, and I would ask that you do the same. Okay. So, guys, there is something that is going on with Mia. Mia really does not want to show up because her identity is going to be broadcast. So, it's kind of imperative that content creators do not put Mia out there. It's not cool. It's not okay. If she's going to need to stay anonymous, she needs to stay anonymous. That's a big problem that they're having right now in the courtroom. That's why they're saying, please call this person Mia. And there might be some ways to keep her anonymous. I don't know if they'll let the public in and if they'll let the reporters in when Mia's there. Let's see. Okay, Ms. Coleman, we can take that down. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, so what year was this? How many times, if any, was Mia present with you when you witnessed Mr. Combs be violent with Cassie? 1. About year was this? maybe 2013, 2014. And where were you before the violence started? At Cassie's house. Which home of Cassie's was this? 818 Doheny. And is that in Los Angeles? Yes. Is that an apartment or a house? An apartment. What were you and Mia helping Cassie get ready for before the violence started? We were packing Cassie up for the OVO Fest in Canada. What is OVO Fest? Drake's music festival. Right before the violence started, where was Cassie in the apartment? On the couch, sleep. She was asleep, yes. Where were you? Between the living room where she was sleeping and her second bedroom, which was where her closet was, packing. And do you remember where Mia was? No. Who came to the door? I did. Did you hear a knock at the door? Yes. What did you do in response? I opened it. Who did you see outside the apartment door? Puff. What did Mr. Combs say when you opened the apartment door for him? Bitch, didn't I tell you to answer your phone? Who did you understand he was speaking to when he said, bitch, didn't I tell you to answer the phone? Cassie. What did you see Mr. Combs do after he said that? Grab her by her hair and pull her off the couch and start hitting her. When you say grab her by her hair, who did Mr. Combs grab by the hair? Cassie. And after Mr. Combs grabbed Cassie by the hair, what did he do next? He began to hit her. Could you tell whether it was an open or closed fist? Not really, no. Could you tell how hard he was hitting her? Objection. Overruled. Could you tell how hard he was hitting her? Pretty hard. What was Mr. Combs saying as he pulled Cassie by her hair off the couch and hit her? I just remember y'all going to stop effing with me. What was Mr. Combs' tone and demeanor? He was in a rage. Where did you, me, and Cassie go after Mr. Combs? Immediately after Mr. Combs started hitting Cassie, we ran to her bedroom. To Cassie's bedroom? Cassie's bedroom, yes. And what did Mia and Cassie attempt to do in her bedroom? Try to close the door. What happened when you, me, and Cassie tried to close the door? Puff pushed it open. After Mr. Combs pushed the bedroom door open, what did you see him do next? He continued to attack Cassie. And how was he attacking Cassie? With his fist and kicking her. And what parts of Cassie's body did you see him kick and hit? I mean, it was so fast. But did you see him? Yes. Make contact with her body? Yes, he made contact, yes. What did you do to try to help Cassie? I jumped on Puff's back. How did Mr. Combs react when you jumped on his back? He threw me off. Where did you land? On the floor. Were you injured? I was a little sore. What did Mia do to try to help Cassie? Jump on his back as well. When you say his back, whose back? Puff. How did Mr. Combs react when Mia jumped on Mr. Combs' back? She was thrown off as well. What did Mr. Combs do after throwing you and Mia off his back? He continued to hit Cassie until her head hit the edge of the bed frame. What did you see happen after Cassie's head hit the edge of the bed frame? He still continued to hit her for, a short time. And when he noticed the blood, he just panicked. So what blood did you see after Cassie's head hit the bed? Blood coming from her head. How much blood did you see coming from the head? A lot. And did Mr. Combs stop hitting Cassie immediately after her head hit the bed? No. For about how much longer did he continue to hit her as she was bleeding from the head? A couple of seconds. After that, at that point, were you still in the room? Yes. And where was Mia? Getting towels. And what were the towels for? Cassie's head. And where was Cassie? She went into the second bathroom. As you all were leaving the bedroom, what, if anything, did Mr. Combs say to you, Mia, and Cassie? Look what y'all made me do. Look what y'all made me do. Absolutely, no. Who's Jordan? Lonnie McQuadra said, did Jordan testify at the story she told us? Oh, the chef. No. But I'm assuming you are somebody she knows. No, she hasn't testified just yet. As you were leaving the bedroom, what, if anything, did Mr. Combs say? Look what you made me do. What, if any, phone calls did you try to make after seeing all the blood from Cassie's head? I tried to call 911. What happened when you tried to call 911? I was immediately told to hang up. Do you remember who told you to hang up? No. As you sit here today, can you remember? No. Did you hang up? Yes. So did the call connect? No. What, if anything, did Mr. Combs say about where Cassie was going to go next? The plastic surgeon. Who did Mr. Combs say was going to be the plastic surgeon with? Who was going to go to the plastic surgeon with Cassie? D-Rock. Who is D-Rock? A friend of his security. Who's security? Puff. Can we please pull up the evidence? Blah, blah, blah. D-Rock. Who is that? D-Rock. Do you know him by any other names? D-Rock is fine. His stage name is D-Rock is fine? Or, I'm sorry, it's getting late. Do you know him by any other names? D-Rock is fine. That's weird. And do you know what his role was for Mr. Combs at the time that Cassie had this head injury? Security. After that incident, when was the next time that you saw Cassie, either over FaceTime or in person? Or maybe he just didn't understand the question, so he just said maybe he meant D-Rock is the only name. That's weird. And how did you see her the next day? FaceTime or something like that. And when you saw her, what if the injuries did you see? She had stitches on her forehead. She had a gash on her forehead. And you made a gesture. Was it above the eyebrow? It was like in the eyebrow. I want to talk about another time you witnessed violence. Was there a time when you and Cassie were cooking in her apartment before Mr. Combs became violent? Objection, judge. Formal question. I'm sorry. Objection. I'm sorry. Rephrase the question. I want to direct your attention to a night when you were cooking with Cassie in her apartment. Does that ring a bell? Yes. About year are we talking? About what year are we talking? 2013 or 2014? What apartment were you in? 818 Doheny. The same apartment that you just talked about? Yes. And this incident that we're about to talk about, was it before or after Cassie cut her head on the open bed frame? After. Who was at the apartment? Just me and Cassie. And who came over? Puff. About what time of day do you remember Mr. Combs coming over to the apartment? Nighttime. And what do you remember Mr. Combs saying when he first came over to the apartment? He said, hey, and they wanted to talk to Cassie for a minute. And where did he and Cassie go? To her bedroom. And what happened after they went in the bedroom? He grabbed her as they were walking out. He grabbed her like by her hair and by the back of her shirt and started pushing her out. And he was like, I don't give a F. You're going to get the F up out my house. Y'all going to get the F up out my house. So a few follow-up questions. First, when Mr. Combs referred to my house, what did you understand? Objection. Overruled. You got to wait for the judge. I said overruled. So sorry, Your Honor. Wait. He overruled it. Cassies, you got to wait for the judge. I said overruled. So sorry, Your Honor. That's okay. Far away from the mic. What did you understand he meant when he was referring to my house? Cassie's house. And had you heard this argument had started in the bedroom? No. And what did you see Mr. Combs doing to Cassie as he was saying, get out of my house? Grabbing her by the hair and by the back of her shirt or her jacket and pushing her out the house. And where did Mr. Combs ultimately push Ms. Ventura? Halfway out the door. And after he pushed her there, what did he do to you? He began to do the same to me. And then he told me to go downstairs and she'll be right down. You said he did the same to you. What did Mr. Combs do to you? Well, he was more so popping me in the back of my head because I don't have hair and grabbing me by my shirt and pushing. When he said he was popping you in the back of your head, what was he doing to your head? Like, a slap. You pop somebody in the head. Slapping you with his hand? Yes, yes. Where did you go after Mr. Combs pushed you and Cassie out the apartment? To get my car from valet. So did you go downstairs? Yes. And who did you see when you went downstairs? Security. Who's security? Puff. Do you remember who from security? No. What did security say to you when you got downstairs? Objection. I can rephrase, Your Honor. Okay. What, if any, instructions did security give you when you got downstairs? Same objection. Overruled. I told y'all. It's constant. His objections are never sustained. That I needed to wait for her, Puff, to come down. So what did you do? I was blocked in, so I waited. What was blocking you in? Security. Security's cars? No. Security. Oh, just security. Yes. And then what happened next? They came down. When you say they, what do you mean? When Puff and Cassie came down, Cassie got in my car. Puff began to berate both of us, and he finally let us go. Let me pause you there. You said Combs began to berate you both. Who was he berating? Cassie and I. And what was Mr. Combs saying as far as you can remember? We're not going to be playing with him. We can just take our broke ass and ride into the sunset. Y'all, Diddy should have been with Jocelyn Hernandez. Like, all of this sounds like coke rage to me. You just in the house chilling. He comes and says, you got to get out. Then he's slapping this dude like a mom would slap a kid who said something wrong. Then he tells him, your broke asses got to get... We can just take our broke asses and ride into the sunset. It's not funny, but it's like, it's a polluted stream of consciousness. Where did you and Cassie go next? We drove off, and as we drove off, we got a phone call to pull over. Objection. I can ask another question, Your Honor. Let's have a new question. After you drove, what... drove away from the building, what, if any, phone calls did you and Cassie receive? A phone call from Puff. What did Puff say? For us to pull over. And what did you do? We pulled over. What happened after you pulled over? He came to the window and began to talk to Cassie. Who came to the window? Puff. And what did you hear Mr. Combs say when he came up to the window? Excuse me. That she effed up and that he was going to put her sex tapes on the internet. He was going to release them on schedule, and that he was going to first start by sending them to her parents' jobs, and he was going to get them fired, and that her brother was a bitch, and that Puff was the only one that protected her. So you walk into the house, you wake everybody up, you make them get up, you make them get out. Then you instruct security downstairs to make Deonte wait there until you walk Cassie downstairs. You walk Cassie downstairs, you put her in a car, then you follow her in the car and call her and tell her to pull over because she wasn't intimidated enough. Now you are mind effing her with these sex tapes. Y'all, like, this is a for real pollute. Like, this is, I can't get it. I can't get it. Like, what the hell is this? Like, so you are actively abusing her, putting her down. She's a bitch, she's a hoe, she's a slut. You're beating up on her. You tell her all of these things, and then you say, I'm the only one to protect you. Literally, doesn't that sound like the mafia? They come into a store, they knock it around, they send goons to scare you, and then they tell you, if you don't pay me this money, you won't get the protection from me, when really they were the one that put you in harm's way in the first place. How did Cassie react to Mr. Combs saying all these things to her? She was in tears. What was Mr. Combs' tone when he said these things to Cassie? He was pretty in between. In between what? Angry, but he wasn't shouting. After Mr. Combs finished saying all of those things, what did you and Miss Ventura do next? We drove off. And where did you ultimately drive to? My house. As you were driving away, what was Cassie's demeanor? She was in tears. What did you say to try to comfort her? Objection, objection. Overruled. I told her, I said, well, girl, if he wants to release the sex tapes, then let him, because he's on them too. What did you mean when you said he's on them too? That Puff was on them too? On the videos? Yes. How did Cassie respond when you said that Puff was on them too? She said that he wasn't on the videos, that it was him taping her with other guys. And did she say what she was doing with those other guys? Yeah, having sex with other guys. What did she say about whether in that moment in 2013, 2014, she wanted to have sex with other guys? Objection. That's overruled. That she didn't want to. And what did she say about why she was in that moment? Why she was in that moment? Because Puff wanted her to. After you got back to your house, who, if anyone, called you and Cassie? Puff and Derek Roche. What do you remember about those phone calls? Derek Roche called me and told me that he had given Puff my address and that Puff was on the way. Y'all. Create a channel for objection. Callie says, again, even pips make money. This is literally somebody's crackhead boyfriend. He just has a lot of money. Just like your homegirl's crazy boyfriend in the hood, but rich. Yo, like, this boy's probably pooping his pants now that he knows that Diddy has the address. So, okay, we've already established you then followed her, you threatened her. Now you then put her out the house. she's baking it to someplace safe, this boy's house, and you call your stylist and say, give me your stylist assistant's address. I'm coming over. Like, damn. Objection. It's not offered for the truth, Your Honor. Just impact on the listener. Overruled. Has he got one sustained yet? Has any of them been sustained yet? How did you and Cassie react when Derek told you that Puff was on the way? We panicked. And then what did you do? I drove her to Sunset Boulevard so she can catch a yellow taxi. Why did you drive Miss Ventura to Sunset Boulevard to get a taxi? Uber wasn't really a thing then. What did Cassie tell you she was going to do when she got into the taxi? She would call me when she got to where she was. Did she tell you where she was going at that point? No. What did you do after dropping Cassie off to get a taxi? I went back home. What happened when you went back home? Puff came to my house with Derek Roche and D-Rock. What happened when Mr. Combs, D-Rock, and Derek Roche came to your house? Puff came in and he was like, where the fuck is she? He started looking all around my house. In the closets, he went in the oven. I don't know why he looked in the oven. And he asked me where she was. Who did you understand he was referring to when Mr. Combs said where she was? Cassie. After Mr. Combs looked around your house, what happened next? He then took my phone and my car keys and asked, Mr. Combs took your phone. What if anyone came into... Hold on. What did you say, Callie? Hold on. No, not that one. I thought... Okay, again, even pimps make money. This is literally somebody's crackhead boyfriend. He just has a lot of money. No, Callie. No. You have an organization. Like, you're not just an abusive boyfriend. You are using your security to intimidate. You are having your employees buy drugs. Like, this. I think the defense is effective, but I think the prosecution is proving a criminal enterprise at the very least. Sex trafficking might be a stretch. This says criminal enterprise. This is not just you and one person. This is the head of the company, your manager, who would be Derek Roche in the situation, coming to your house and running down on you. That is a crime. Like, you can't do that as the CEO of a company. I fervently disagree. What did you understand what he was referring to when he said, where is she? Cassie. After Mr. Combs looked around your house, what happened? He then took my phone and my car keys. This sounds like entrapment. You can't. And as Mr. Combs took your phone, what if any phone calls came into your phone? Cassie called. And what happened when Cassie called your phone? When he saw the number, objection, can you rephrase the question? Yes, Your Honor. Could you tell what phone number or what ID came up on your phone? The Limantros. And what is the Limantros? A hotel in the West Hollywood. And were you able to see the Limantros come up on the screen of your phone? Yes. As Mr. Combs was holding it? Yes. And after that came up on the screen of your phone, what did Mr. Combs say? He said, oh, she at the Limantros. Let's go. So then what did Mr. Combs tell you to do? He told me to get in the car and they will follow me to the Limantros so I can get her to come down. And who did you understand would be following you? Puff and security. Objection. That's overruled. Who from security? D-Rock. So what did you do? I hopped in the car and drove to the Limantros. And as you drove, where was your phone? With Mr. Combs. Where did you drive to? Limantros. What happened after you got to the Limantros? When I walked up, he kind of like stopped before he went in and told me that because we got shipments there a lot, I knew the people. Objection. Ms. Comey, let me break it down if that's okay, Your Honor. To the court, it's okay. Ms. Comey, thank you, Your Honor. So first, who was talking to you? Puff. And backing up before this day, what, if any, connection did you personally have to the Limantros? We always got packages there, and most of the staff stayed there. Most of the staff meaning whose staff? Bad boy staff. So what did Mr. Combs say to you outside of the Limantros? Since I want to be all chummy with those bitches, go upstairs and get Cassie. How did you respond? I told him to give me my phone back. Let me see. And what did Mr. Combs do? I'm sorry. I told him that if he gave me my phone back, I told him that he needed to give me my phone back because she would think it was weird that I didn't have my phone. And what did Mr. Combs do in response? He gave it back. And then where did you go? Upstairs to her room. When you went inside the Lamontros, who came with you? D-Rock. And Tony B.S. Fletcher showed up some kind of way. Who is Tony Bias Fletcher? Puff's old chief of staff. Can we please pull up blah, blah, blah. Do you remember to recognize the person? Yes. Who is that? Tony Bias Fletcher. Let's see Tony Bias Fletcher. Okay, no, that's Tokyo Tony. Tony Bias Fletcher, Diddy. Maybe it's this. Oh no, I spelled it right. There's no photos of this chief of staff. That's weird. Okay, so this is her. Okay. Okay, we can take that down. How did you and Tony D-Rock know which room to go? The people at the front desk told me. And then where did you go? To Cassie's room. And what happened when you got to Cassie's room? I opened the door and turned on the light. What happened when you turned on the light to Cassie's room? She jumped up. Who jumped? Cassie. And how was her demeanor based on her appearance? Withdrawn. Based on your observations of her appearance, what did her demeanor appear to be when she jumped up? She was frightened. What did you and D-Rock and Tony say to Cassie? That Puff was downstairs looking for her. How did Cassie react when she heard that? She said, oh no. And then she went towards the balcony. She said she was going to go over the balcony. What? Mr. Donaldson, objection, objection. Now that's sustained. The jury should disregard the witness's last answer. Ms. Coleman, you can ask a different question or rephrase. Did Cassie make any statements about what her intent was to do in the immediate future? Objection. That's overruled. Did he make any statements about what her intent was to do in the immediate future? Yes, she said that she was going to climb over the balcony. How high up was the balcony? It wasn't the first floor. Do you remember what floor it was on? No. How did you and D-Rock and Tony react when Cassie said she was going to go over the balcony? We told her no and that we would sneak her out the side. So then where did Cassie go? I assume out the side. Where did you go? Back through the front. Now, when you say that out the side, what do you mean by the side of the Lamontros? The side of the hotel, I guess. And then where did you go? I went back to the front of the hotel. And who did you see when you went back to the front of the hotel? Puff and some other security guards. Whose security guards did you see? Puff's. About how many of Mr. Combs' security guards did you see outside of the Lamontros? Maybe 4 or 5. And what, if any, vehicles did you see Mr. Combs with his security staff? An SUV, and I don't remember the other one. Do you remember what color? No. I mean, I'm sure no. What, if any, conversation did you and Mr. Combs have when you went outside? I told him that she had left the room, and he told me that I played him. What happened next? As he was talking, I just hopped in the car and drove off. Where were you driving to? I was going to drive home. And what happened? I noticed that there was a car following me. Did you recognize the car? Yes. From where? One of the same cars that was outside of the Lamontros. And who had been in or next to that car? One of those cars outside of the Lamontros. Objection, overruled. Puff and security. What did you do when you saw that this car that you recognized driving behind you? I turned off my lights and drove really fast until I lost them. And then where did you go? To the Universal Sheraton. Why did you go to a hotel? Because I didn't think my home was safe to go to that night. When did you go back to your home? The next morning. And what did you find when you got back to your home? My backpack was stolen. What had been in that backpack? My identification, thousands of dollars, and my iPad. Why did you have $1,000 cash in your backpack? Objection, overruled. Generally when Puff would. Objection. Answer. Go to be irate. I kept $500 for a deposit for the hotel and $500 for the room, so I didn't have to put my name on the hotel room. Objection. Damn. Why didn't you want to put your name? The court, the judge. Hold on. When the question is being asked, if you object, then I have no idea what the objection is or what the question is. So let's get the question, and then Mr. Donaldson, I'll give you a chance for the objection. Again, he's teaching him how to do it. Mr. Donaldson, judge, for the record, I was actually objecting to the prior answer that he started with generally. I didn't want to interrupt his answer. That's overruled. Ms. Comey, can we get a new question? Yes, Your Honor. Why, Mr. Nash, did you not want to put your name on a hotel where you were staying? Because I didn't want Puff to find me. Switching topics a bit. How many times, if any, do you remember seeing Mr. Combs slap Cassie across the face? Once. Where was this? Outside of the parking lot at a studio. At which studio? I just remember it was like North Hollywood. And who do you remember being in the studio parking lot? It was quite a few people. About what year was this? 2015. And what did you see happen? I just heard a commotion and I looked over, and by the time I looked over, he slapped her. Wait. Go back. So your backpack is missing, your iPad is missing, and your $1,000 is missing. Did you call the police? That's a question. Who slapped who? Puff slapped Cassie. Where? In her face. What did Mr. Combs say as he slapped Cassie in the face? Get this bitch out of here. What did you do in response? Got her out of there. And how did Cassie react to being slapped in the face? She was in tears. During Cassie's relationship with Mr. Combs, what, if any, movies are you aware that she appeared in? Step Up 3, The Perfect Match, and Honey 3. I want to talk about The Perfect Match. Do you remember about when the premiere of that movie was? 2015 or 16? Are you estimating? Yes. Who helped her get ready for that premiere? Derek Roche and I think Roquel, the makeup artist. And who, if any, did you FaceTime with while Cassie was getting ready for the premiere? Derek. And when Derek FaceTimed with you, did you talk with Cassie? Yes. When you saw Cassie's face over FaceTime, what did you see? That she had a black eye. When was the next time you saw Cassie in person after seeing that black eye over FaceTime? At the premiere. When you saw Cassie at the premiere, what, if any, injuries could you see on her face? I could see the black eye under her makeup. But was there makeup covering it? Yes. Objection. Overruled. How much makeup? A lot. While you were at the premiere, what, if any, interactions did you observe between Mr. Combs and Cassie? He just kept pulling her next to him anytime she would try to, have a conversation with somebody. And then I noticed him grabbing her side and would say, like, jump. Grabbing her side and she would, like, jump. Objection, Your Honor. Objection, move to strike. Overruled. Now, Mr. Nash, other than that, I guess objection overruled should have been the drinking game. Now, Mr. Nash, other than that, what we've already talked about, how often do you remember seeing bruises on Cassie during her relationship with Mr. Combs? Quite often. Guys, what time is it? How long have we been going? We've been going for 3 hours. I say this. Oh, thank you, Dana, for the Cash App. I appreciate you. I say this. How about we reconvene tomorrow morning for these last 100 pages? I think we need to because, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. Time flew by. Not for me. Not for me. So tomorrow morning, after I come back from my training session, we can reconvene and finish this. Yeah. So thank you guys for being here. Definitely like the video on your way out. And yeah, his testimony went long because it was very revealing. Yeah, the cross-examination is worse than yes. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow morning, probably around maybe like 8:30 Central. Paige, that's probably what I'm gonna do, but I have something in the works. As soon as I get off the phone, one of the text messages that I got is potential management. So we'll see. I'll keep you guys informed, but I'll definitely still be there in record Monday no matter what. So see you guys tomorrow morning. This was crazy.